Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, Will?
Not much, man. It's been a crazy week.
Man, sounds like you had a blast over there over the weekend, man.
Networking, man. Just networking.
Sounds good, man. Sounds like a
Looks
good
funner than
time.
it is.
Not bad. Maybe I can make it out there one of these days.
Yeah, yeah. Bitcoin Miami was pretty good. I was lucky though. I had a lot of big players like invite me to like private parties and shit. So just the networking just kept getting deeper and deeper.
Man, that's cool. That's why you're hanging out with BitBoy, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, Big Cohen, BitBoy, Crypto Crow. Crypto Crow actually follows me now.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
Gareth follows me now too. Gareth Soloway.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of big influencers now that are like
Oh man, I'm
heavily.
pretty sure you got like the inside scoop on a bunch of new projects and all kinds of stuff going on in crypto, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I kind of caught the psyop too. That was one of the ones that I got a little bit of word of mouth. I had the Kim Pai pandas. They invited me to a private party too. It was pretty.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Did you meet up with Marty? You see him
No,
over?
dude, I got him tickets and everything to VIP and he didn't come.
Oh man, yeah, because he was posting that he was gonna go one of the days.
Yeah, I told him I was like, bro, I'll get you VIP if you can come. Because the pandas, like, they saw me with all the influencers and they just sent me like free VIP tickets. They
Oh,
were
that's
like, "You need any extra ones?" I was like, "Sure." And I got some extra ones for him, but he did.
all right. You did see Alex over there?
No, no, I didn't. Might have been there. I don't know. I don't know with Alex, man. He's like, I think he kind of plays in his own world.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's really in tune with crypto that much right now through the bear market either.
yeah. I saw he was posting some other like AI stuff right now. I think he's kind of putting it on the back burner.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to like ride the wave. It's not gonna work out for AI. I mean, AI will work out, but I'm saying like people trying to grift off it, it's not gonna. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
I've
a
been looking
trend
into
right
AI.
now.
What's that?
It's kind of like the yeah, like you said, it's kind of the wave right now, the AI stuff.
Yeah, some people are trying to drift on it and they just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Grifting won't get you anywhere. You got to actually know the tech.
Mm.
All right.
Hey, that was a good call on what was it on Zoom, man? I was really looking at that chart hard when it was like in the 60s. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, that looks like a good chart, man. When you pointed it out, I kept it on the back burner. Kept telling my friends about it. I was like, yeah, Zoom, man, looks like it's gonna pop. They're like, I don't know, man. Now that COVID, and sure enough, man.
Everybody stayed in the same. They stayed in that mindset, man.
Yep.
That's what it was. Like they got to understand. Look, it literally went to its 2009 price.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
or it's 2019. Sorry, price right here. Like
Yeah.
it's not going any lower. Like that's ICO IPO pricing.
Right.
Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't go deep." No, no, it's not. That's it. Like this is, prior to COVID, this was interest and price before COVID ever happened. And then
Right.
COVID happened over here, which boosted the price. Yes, I agree with that. And price already came back down and retraced all that and more, right? You're in the point here where like the crowd's just scared, right? And investors are going to pump this thing up. And once they get above here, that's where all the scared money is going to start pushing in. That's going to push it up even higher. It's just, like, and you're still at the bottom. Even if you missed my call and you were to like try and take a bite here, like you're still at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Um, this is just
Like,
like a hold for me.
just wait for the pullback on that one.
I wouldn't even, I mean,
Yeah.
really, no, I would start bidding even where it's at. Like this is, you gotta look at this. Like this is the bottom, right? Like what pullback are you gonna get here? There's really not a lot, right? Like
Right.
price could come back. Like don't get me wrong, like price could fall back, right? And you could potentially get a better entry. But the reality is like this is your high, this is your low, right?
Yeah.
So like trying to look for cheaper pricing here isn't really the ideal position Because here's the thing, that's how market makers get you, right? So market makers start pumping it up. They hold it, and then you're waiting for that pullback, and then it gets up to here, right? And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna pull back. I'm gonna wait for that next pullback, and then it's gonna come up to here, and it's gonna pull back a little bit, and it's gonna break through. And you're like, oh, I'm waiting for the pullback to here, and then they're gonna roll it back up, and they're gonna roll it back up, and then they're gonna be all the way up here, and you're gonna be like, I missed the boat. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
how they
was.
get you, man. That's how
Yeah.
like even if price were to fall back deeper from here, like you got into an ideal position here, right? Like
Right.
this is like if you were to take this as a range, this is the high end of the range, and this is the low end of the range. You're at the low end of the range. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just something you got to just take a bite at if you're interested, right? Not
Yeah.
just take a bite. I'm just saying, like if you're interested in it, it's something you got to take a bite at. I told you guys
Yeah.
I was.
It has much more upside than downside.
Yep, exactly. Much more upside and downside. That's what a lot of people miss. That man, it's a hard one to catch for a lot of people because they're not used to that kind of stuff, right? They're not used to those kind of plays. They don't really understand it, so they just avoid it, and shit happens. Um, I hope people aren't like turned off about my Twitter moves, but like I'm just farming engagement basically. I'm not a LARP, guys. Like I'm not trying to like tell people about shit coins and stuff like that. But like PSYOP, I did get some inside news. I did try to tell people ahead of time, like, hey, this is really a buy. And it's still freaking going. It's actually unbelievable. I'm in the play. Um I'm up like several X's right now. But I'm not trying to get you guys into that, but I don't know where this top is, man. Like this is honestly ridiculous how hard he pumped this thing. Um, I mean, you're looking at like $14.49 million of liquidity, right?
Mm.
And you've had $17.5 million of volume in the past 24 hours. So I don't know, man. Market cap sitting at 1.35 billion. It's like I wouldn't even really look at the market cap because technically bin.eth owns like 96% of the supply. So if he pulls something like a Shiba and starts burning supply, that's just going to push price higher. This is a
Mm-hmm.
hard one to gauge.
That's that. What is it? Psyop
Yeah,
or
the psyop, man. I'm telling you, like,
now? Is that one that you were previously already looking into, or is that something
mm-hmm.
new?
It was a new one, but like, I was telling people before any of this shit occurred, any of it. Like, I posted yesterday that people should probably buy. Like, I know it's not financial advice, but I was like, I mean, everybody's gonna sell here and they're gonna get freaking wrecked and buy higher.
I was looking at your tweets, and I was like, man, I'm not sure if he's saying that is a good buy or that it's totally a. Man, I thought that you were saying that, man, be careful because this could be a rug pull type of scenario more than, hey guys, this should be, this is something I'm getting into. At
Yeah, I
least,
mean, I didn't want to be outright with it because then I
yeah,
look like a shill. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I was just kind of poking around and telling people like, "Hey, this looks good," yada yada, and I was just like hinting around, right? The one post somebody asked me, and I outright told them, right? So I was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie, no matter how many times you tell retail, uh, they won't believe it till it happens. I said they never learn their lesson. I was like, ETH Ben is basically an OG in the space, has a big following. Like, why the fuck is he gonna wreck himself for a
Yeah.
project? And then he's not an idiot. And I posted this yesterday before any of this freaking liquidity came in. It was nuts. All of you selling your bags, I have no doubt you will be buying back in higher. Textbook plays. And I posted that yesterday, and today we're sitting at like 12, or not even 12, like 17 million in volume, almost 18 million in volume
Dang.
in a day. Like
Wow.
where we were looks like a speck on the chart. Like
That's crazy.
I don't look, I'm not going to tell you guys to buy here. Like I don't know, but like I told people here, right there. Look at where we're at right now. Actually, it wasn't. It was on the where was it? The 21st. So I think it was right in here. This is where I told people. Right here.
Oh, it was about yesterday afternoon.
Yep. 6 p.m. I think was the
Wow.
post. And look at where price was, and look at where price is.
Now is that like that's a well getting in, right? I mean, what is that?
It's a
Is that
what?
just everybody FOMOing in?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's FOMOing it. And they're FOMOing in with like big money. Like if you look through here, you got a 20,000 sell, you got a 13,000 buy. You got over here. I saw a couple $50,000 buys. I saw a couple $30,000 buys. Look right here, $30,000,
Dang. Well,
$20,000, $15,000. Like these people are look,
that's big, man.
$30,000. Like it's just look, $100,000
Dang.
basically right there.
Wow.
100 fucking K. Bye.
And this is pretty much like a meme coin, right? Like a shit coin
It's
type
a
of deal,
shit coin.
or
It is 100% a shit coin. But apparently he's gonna do like a project with it and like I don't know, like projects that want to be, advertised through him. He's going to use. They're going to have to buy the token, and then when they buy the token, that token then gets distributed to holders. Yada yada. There's a bunch of I think mechanics that he's trying to add to it. Um, the guy that's running it has the highest response and highest, I would say, views in crypto Twitter. He's got 64K or 67K, maybe 70 now, K followers, and but he has the highest interactions on his tweets out of everybody on Twitter. It
okay.
was Borovic, but now it's him. I think at least on the crypto Twitter side, CT Twitter.
So this guy's an influencer who started his own crypto project.
Yep.
Gotcha. And he's using his platform to get
To promote.
yeah to promote it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He has too much, in my opinion, he has too much going on to rug this. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has too many followers. Like you fuckers, because here's the thing: if you once you become an influencer, a decent one, you can basically control narratives and stuff like that in a sense, right? Or at least control liquidity to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what that does is that makes other advertisers interested in you. Like I don't know if you guys remember the whole FTX, debacle, but they were
Yeah.
paying people with like 10K followers, like 50K a month to advertise for them. So like when you look at it from that perspective, you can make a lot of money as an influencer. There's no point in screwing yourself because you want to run a project. Not
Yeah.
only that, you also get because you're a liquidity provider, right? So the person who provided the liquidity, you also get what they call LP tokens. So that means every time somebody transacts, you get a percentage of that transaction, right? And you could then sell those LP tokens into Uniswap for cash. So if there's a lot of transactions or a lot of traction on your project, you're going to get a shit ton of LP tokens that you can sell. So you don't need to rug a project. If a project is really solid, there's no need to rug it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Very.
Yeah, I wanted to add more, but like it's so freaking high now. Like I just think I'm better off not going that route. It's like I know the second I add, that's gonna be the Pico top.
The
Directly.
FOMO is real, man.
Yeah. When you look at it from a DCA perspective, that'll
Right.
really screw my DCA. It'll put me like right in the middle of where we're at, and I don't want to be right in the middle. I'm at the bottom. Um, but yeah, that's what's going on with that. We can get into charts though. We're gonna chat here. So Amazon was one of the plays I was talking to you guys about. I was looking for a breakout here. It's exactly what happened. Occurred breakout. Now we're kind of pulling up. We could pull back a little bit. I think this thing continues through. This is an atypical move to kind of pull back right before a breakout. And really, Amazon's got a lot of room to run. Google, all these other ones that ran. Amazon's going to follow suit. Amazon is going to follow suit. Nobody's paying attention to Amazon. Nobody's talking about Amazon. You don't hear anything on the news about Amazon. When will you hear about Amazon in the news? When do you guys think you will?
When it's at the top,
When it's at the top, when it's like up here and up here. Oh, look, Amazon's such a great buy. Everybody should buy it. And price will be sitting here at like 150, all the way up to like 180. So if you're looking to get in, I think your opportunity is, somewhere around now. And you can capitalize on the move and then, get out, once you get back to Pico highs. But you have broken your bear trend here. You're outside of it, you're above it, you're pulling back on it. Don't expect price to come back to the trend. A lot of these have pulled back to something like this and then ripped back out. And then people are looking for price to come all the way back down the trend. It doesn't do it. And their buys are set here and price then comes up to here. And then they're waiting for the next pullback, comes back, and they try to look for support, comes back halfway and starts going. This is exactly what Google did. Google like literally ripped people's faces off. If you look over here, see how Google pulled back or landed on top. People are looking for a pullback. What did Google do? Came out to here and then just ripped. Never revisited the low here, or at least the support. And that was your resistance all the way across. You are now above the 50, which is bullish. You are also above the bear trend here on this, right? So I'm looking for like maybe a resistance a little bit higher, maybe around this shoulder over here, because this is the next ripple before the drop. So looking for RSI maybe to come up to here, which means that Google has a ways to go before it's going to fall over. Or it could distribute across the ceiling here, in which case that'll be the building RSI, and then RSI falls back and then holds the 50 and goes bullish, right? A lot of these charts are looking really bullish. They basically moved on their monthlies outside of their bearish trend, which is under the 50. We talked about that, right? Now we're above the 50. So I'm looking for price to continue up. Yeah, guys, like I completely shocked myself, believe me. Nat gas, and I've been playing these, but like there's a point where this party ends, right? It's when, it's where. That's really what we have to kind of evaluate and look at. So with nat gas, I'm not feeling too hot here. You have your move, then you have your dip, right? And you can see them catching that gas. Why? Why can you see them catching that gas? Well, if you look at price here, you got a round top that's increasing volume, and you get a round bottom, right? So whenever you get these two inverting from each other, you're basically looking to catch price. So if price continues to build, right, to build against drops, you're looking to reverse. And that's exactly what happened with that gas right here. And then you basically dip down right here, right? When you get a dip down, you're looking at typically a continuation move. And then you get what? And you get a build, right? So your Pico volume, right? Your volume's over here. Now look, this volume is based off of this high, and you're actually getting heavier volume on this drop, right? So you got big players stepping in really hard to try and stop this drop from happening. You have this kind of angled trend for nat gas. I think nat gas is in a consolidation range, and is bullish, right? And basically, if you look at stochastic, that's it's so oversold, right? On the higher time frames. Sorry about my voice, guys. It's been a long weekend, but it's beyond oversold on the higher time frames. Like it's just so wrecked. Um, really, I'd look for nat gas to kind of play bearish for now, which means we'll consolidate probably, right? And why do I think that? Because we're below the 50, but we are curving back up, which means we could start building off of this trend. But once nat gas gets going, it's gonna pico up, right? Could be a 2026 play, something like that. It's a hard one to measure, maybe something like that, right? Take that as your pico top. Wherever price lands on this top end will be your top end, but this is, I think, is your bottom. We did drop in volume again. Now, the trick here is when volume falls off a cliff, typically, okay, again, I'm gonna point this out really easily for you guys. No, we haven't covered. We'll cover BTC. We haven't covered it yet. When volume falls off a cliff like this, right? Volume is extremely low, and I'm seeing this across the board, and it's really scared me because when volume gets like this, like I'll be real, like this means there's no activity, right? When there's no activity, what's a good way to spike activity? It's to build up. That's really what it is. Like, and you're probably like, why would you build up to get activity? Why wouldn't you just sell down? Because when you have no activity, you have no sellers when you're at the low, right? When you have no activity and you're at the high, you have no buyers, right? So that's where you got to kind of watch price action in a sense and see how it works. And you're probably like, well, up here we had a lot of activity. Yes, we had a lot of activity. We had topping activity. Why? Because this whole area right here is just basically one big FOMO top, right? We had our low move, and really what you could have done on activity or volume is you could have driven a lot, right? The second you break above, you're basically deviating. So you're actually starting to fall here, right? And you actually spiked here. That's a spike because it broke outside your trend, right? So you spiked right here in volume, you're getting ready to fall over. Volume then drops, right? It falls with the chart. And now we've got volume really low here at the lows. So I'm expecting for Nat gas to become bullish in reality. That's the expectation here. Now it doesn't mean that Nat gas will spike real hard to become bullish. It could just be like a build just like what we saw right over here, right? And you got this nice build up and then break, come down, and then you get a second one of these over here, something like this once volume kind of gets moving again. So then we get the original drop, move for the second, and that's where you're getting these higher lows, right? Because this technically is a higher low. It's a rounding structure right here at the lows. Let me show you real quick. It's already began to round right here. You can see it. Look, it's starting to round out. It could even dip down a little more and still be around, and it's going to roll back up. Now the thing is like if we look at it from a rounding structure, it'll take some time, right? Moving into 24, probably 25, 2026 before you end up back at your Pico highs. And really, I'd take this trend right here as like your kind of indicator for that Pico high. This is where I'd be looking to get out of nat gas at that point. So that's what I'm seeing with nat gas. Nothing too crazy. We've got a bit of a broadening wedge forming here too, so it's kind of like nat gas is going to be pretty nasty moving forward. It looks like if it continues to play this trend, we'll see how it plays out. I want to see it play the high. If it rejects up here, I'm expecting it to come all the way down and follow trend lows, which would be really low once it kind of comes up, right? That's how broadenings work. Or it could always change the pattern later on. But for right now, we're just going to go with this pattern because this is what I'm seeing. And it's basically a broadening. So we'll just play that move. We talked about volume, what's going on with volume too. Moving into something like Rivian. I am telling you guys, you will miss this move if you don't get it, man. This is a falling wedge. All right. I'm not even going to ask you guys, what is this? Yada, yada. We talked about that many times. This is a falling wedge. Price is literally falling and coiling, right? It's coiling. It's looking to break out. Now, the reality is here, this breakout could result if it ends up stopping out much lower and a breakdown further, right? But you want to catch the breakout. You want to catch the breakout. Now, where you'll look for support, if you're looking to catch support on this, is you're looking right in here, right around $20. If you can catch support on 20, this will be a leg one. Leg two will probably be much bigger. You'll be looking at resistances much higher, right? And then that'll be your leg two into this price action, probably above it, to be honest with you. So if this thing turns bullish, it'll be something like this, and there's something like this, and there's something like this, right? And that'll be your retest. And then maybe it'll catch support somewhere along there. Those would be kind of my three zones that I'd be looking for. Now, keep in mind, this would be like leg three, right? So it's not going to be just straight up like that. Leg three is typically, much shorter, or sorry, leg five is typically much shorter than leg three. and leg one is, can be it can basically be the same as five, but not as big as three. Three tends to be your longest move, right? Your biggest move. So expectations are it's already starting to round. Now, what would make me think that this is going to turn around? Well, it's not just the chart and the falling wedge. We've got RSI forming a similar move. It's built structure, right? You're getting higher lows, you're getting higher highs. RSI is indicating buying is really stepping in this price zone. What else is telling me this? Well, if we look, or sorry, this is stochastic. RSI is doing what? It's building long against the drop. This is the same move BTC did before it just freaking freaked out and just took off. Okay. So this is something I've been telling you guys, low cats will catch a bid. We are going to see that. All right. Rivian is one of those stocks that I think will do that. Um, Again, partner with Amazon, all the good stuff. It's got a lot of really good things going on for it, guys. Like this is not something to be sleeping on. All right. From a long-term perspective portfolio, yes, it's kind of high risk. Why is it high risk? It's liquidity. But the partners themselves, I think, will keep the company afloat. The commercial side looks really good. The on top of that, the what you call it, the consumer side that they have with this too also looks pretty good. They sell quality work, quality products as far as like cars and stuff like that. I think higher quality personally than Tesla. Tesla does have an edge on self-driving technology. They do not have that, but they do have much better quality when it comes to materials, right? So looking at that, I think or sorry, I'm talking about Lucid, guys. Sorry about that. Rivian itself has better quality and better dollar for consumer. They have the best dollar for product, right? So dollar for dollar, you get a better deal with Rivian than every other EV company on the high end market. On the high end market, when you're looking at commercial vehicles, these guys right here top the commercial for electric. Lucid is the one with the better materials than Tesla and a better car, in my opinion. Without self-driving technology. These guys don't I don't think have self-driving either, but yeah, Ribbon's a good one. I'm starting to you're starting to see, yeah, and exactly, which to me, and this is what I'm hearing more and more too, Philippe, is that a lot of people are starting to see them more and more. And what that's telling me is that they're manufacturing more and more for Amazon, right? Amazon's not going anywhere. They host AWS. The top 100 companies, out of the top 100 companies, about 90% of them use AWS as their back or for their websites and for hosting. So when you consider that, I think Amazon's a too big to fail. Amazon has continued to partner through the entire bear market with Rivian, has not broken that partnership. I don't see that breaking at any point in time, personally. So looking at that, I think that this is a strong pick. The chart's indicating it, the RSI is indicating it, stochastics indicating it. It's a buy. Um, that's just my opinion. I think this is, I mean, you could look back on this really in reality, even if we see a big fallout in the market, which could still occur. Don't get me wrong. You could look back on this, many years later, and this thing could be hovering around these prices, right? And you could be like, man, I bought that at $14. So I think that again, I think this is for a long-term portfolio. This is a great pick, personally. Um, let's look at Rumble real quick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's well, a lot of other bigger companies also use it, like really, really big. Um, I would say this is a tough one, man. RSI is like just kind of sitting here, not really wanting to break down, not really. It's like a steady buy, right? This is what I would call this. I would call this a steady buy to a steady sell. We are above the 50. Could go bullish off this. It's a hard one to indicate because stochastics already kind of topping, but stochastics continue to top, as we all know. Talked about that before. So this is a hard one to really tell you, hey, you need to go in on this one. And it's a new stock too. I would feel the same way about coin and many others. So I don't know. I can't really advise you on the way this chart this thing looks like shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like the way this pattern is like jacked all over the place. Like there's really not much to make out of this. I've tried many different patterns to try and figure out what is actually going on here. and it's just, man, it's done everything outside of everything I've made around it, right? I could clear this chart here. Look at it. Like, how? What do you make of this, right? Like, just nothing. Spike, nothing. Spike, drop, spike, drop, spike. Like, I mean, if anything, it's forming lower lows, lower highs. But I guess you could say that it's kind of consolidating here. I mean, if I were to look at this from ignore all this, that looks like this looks horrible, by the way. I want you guys to understand this. This whole beginning area just looks disgusting. RSI follows in the same direction. It's a hard one to read. But if I were to take this like and just ignore that and look at price, right? Basically like in a consolidation zone here is what I would say. Um, after I bounce out the lows. But it really doesn't mean much. I mean, because price can remain contained here. It doesn't look like it wants to break out, so I'd expect it to come back down again. It's just a matter of does it come back down to the middle or to the low. That's really the trick here with Rumble. Like this is like the best scenario I can give you. There's really nothing to make of over here. This just looks like horrible, man. Like and this resistance that they're kind of hitting here is kind of your support, right? For a lot of this. You're kind of just like playing the liquidity that's up in here. That's where you're getting rejected. You're basically getting rejected by entry buyers, guys. Like this is it's not a good sign in my opinion. Like you don't want to be below entry and catching resistance in that area. Now, could I be wrong? Sure. But like this is where people should be bidding, not selling. And people are selling here. This means all these people that bought here and all these people that bought here want the hell out of this thing. Right? They're at break even. Every time they hit break even, they sell more. Now, can you eventually fish them out? Yes, but that's basically what happened with consolidation. And that's where you can consolidate here for as long as it takes to get those people out. And then maybe it could turn bullish, right? So if I were like long-term bullish on this, maybe look for a potential, right? A potential. I don't think it'll happen. Potential bottom, double bottom, right? Um, and then if we get the double bottom, great. And then we could probably move off of that, right? I would like a deviation. So a dev would kind of be like a break low to here, a retest. And then if they get back above there, that's this right here would be a deviation. Then they'll start building. And typically, if you get a deviation, you're going to break out up here. All right. So that's what I'd like to see. And that would also be a higher low. And that would be a better indicator of this thing wanting to break out. Now, I wouldn't long the deviation or buy the deviation. I would wait for price to get back above support here, right around 793, 795. Price gets back up in here. I would probably bid off this because I would consider that bidding out the floor or the support, and then price build up, right? That's expectation with that one. Hex obliterated. About that. Looks to me like when we talked about buying, it was like over here was a good buy. Really coming back down, I think I might try to recapture the wick here, which you could see price basically come back down. That's 0.018. I think Hex is one to be watching, but like I'm probably gonna stand off on this one a little bit. And then you've got a lot of hype around right now too. Things like Pulse X and Pulse, like they are trying everything to get it on Twitter, get it pumping. Like man, if you look at the bag holders on that, guys, like you gotta have some real faith. You gotta have some real faith. There are some bag holders on there that could pretty much like solo the entire liquidity with how much they own. So, and I'd say there's a solid 10 of them that could do that. And then if any of them get a little antsy, they'll try and front run the other ones, you know. It's a lot of catch 22s when it comes to that one. So just be careful if you're playing in the Pulse X Pulse chain scenario. But it could end up playing out. Could 100% playing out. I mean, I have faith in Richard Hart after seeing what he did with Hex. It's just I don't like the holders. I won't lie. I don't like the holders. But then again, Richard had a big bag when it came to Hex, didn't really sell, but the other holders are not Richard. They're investors, right? So investors act irrationally a lot of times. SMH breakout. I was expecting to break down. Looks like it's going to break above. 8 days to confirm. They break. If they stay up here in 8 days, they're going to go for it, guys. They're coming back up, hitting this golden pocket. This thing's going to moon. Like SMH is looking good for a long. And as I said earlier, Zoom's a buy, even at 71.41, guys. Like, this is the high, this is the low. Yes, it pumped off of where I said, don't wait for pullbacks if you're interested. Just take your positions and let it do what it does. Expectations are retested minimum up here at 109. We'll probably get a little bit of resistance here around like 80, 86, 85, somewhere in here. But we're definitely going to retest those positions, which will put you in the green a bit. So if you wanted to shave some off there, you could. But I expect it to come up here, maybe resist a little bit, and then push through, get up here to this 109. I think it's going to hit this, and then if it gets above 109, like there's nothing really but air over here. Like the resistance is not real over here. It's going to do what Google did and just like go from here to here, and that will suck if you're just watching. So again, Amazon, a little bit of pullback, expecting Amazon to do what Google did, move up. We'll look at Google. Double top for me on L'Oreal. I think this thing's gonna come down. It consider it hover, whatever it wants to do, just like it did over here. But like you've got a clear invalidation, double top here. You've got lower volume playing on that same high, that same double top. Like you've got a lot of indicators bear div right here, telling you that this is a double top. Uh, Same thing over here. So this is Inter Perfumes. You got the same thing here. You got a bear div playing, right? So your ABC, that's what's confirming this an ABC for me, right? It's confirming this is an ABC because you got the bear div right here playing, right? It deflected perfectly on that bear div, right? So I'm expecting this thing to come all the way back down to 50. This thing could really come back down to here. It might just come back down to here and find support. So it's one but it could just, find support around here too. So I'd be watching here 60 and 48, 95. Because you can get a really good entry from there. If you guys are interested in this one. Perfumes, makeups, all that stuff's been doing really well throughout the year. And they are just now starting to sell off. So what I'm looking at here, almost I want to call it a head and shoulders, right? I want to call it a head and shoulders, but I know it's probably not going to play that way. Um, we're looking at the angle that's playing right now. We're setting a little bit below. I can almost bet you will pull back above and we'll hold, and then all that good stuff. Might get a deviation, but this looks really good. You got your body support, body support, body support, and then you're a little bit below, but they could just pop this back up tomorrow, hold support, and then we're going back up again. So this is a hard one to really kind of grasp, but we'll see where it goes. If they come all the way back down to here, great. That's a lower low. Take this thing as a breakdown pattern. It's probably going to become a falling wedge from there. Drop down something like that, and then maybe move on something like that, right? And then as you can see, it should fall right into this support right here, and then roll back out from there. Let's move into Estee Lauder. So this right here for me is a bid. Why is it a bid? Because we had the drop, we had the top, bottom, double bottom, right? So why is it a bid? Because you're going to play the range. Boom, 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 boom. Like just take profit. Don't even bother. If it breaks out, it breaks out. Put the money somewhere else. You'll get a good ROI on that. You're looking at 198 all the way up to like 275, right? That's a pretty big move right there. That you can capitalize on if you can wait it out. This would also, if it breaks up here, by the way, it would be a break of the bear trend, so it could be bullish for this. So you probably could get a reflection and or right here, and then I'll move out and move higher. It's up to you if you want to stay in the play. I'm just looking to play this for the liquidity and get out. I'm not interested in being in this an Estee Lauder. So see how that plays out, but this is the expectations for this one. Google's gone. If you didn't get in Google, just forget about it. Like, I mean, you can buy it if you want. Like, I just wouldn't even bother. It's already gone. Expectations are hopefully again, use the word hopefully. We kind of consolidate here and we don't try and retest high. If we try and retest all time high, yeah, that's not going to be something that is going to be good if you're looking to invest in Google. But like honestly, I don't care about Google. There's better plays. I'm looking for low cats, mid cats personally. Um, that gas we talked about this basically broadening wedge, and we will get into BTC in just a minute. We do have a bear flag playing on Alta Beauty, a massive one. But even though we have this bear flag, you see right here, I just basically show it breaking low, and then this is going to be like your breakout move, right? Um, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to break down, go to zero. No, it's not. No, it's not. It might break below the bear flag before it takes off. Like that's your best case scenario. Your worst case scenario, you wait for that pullback and this thing breaks above here, right? And starts using it as support and breaks off of it. And you're probably like, well, that doesn't work with a bear flag. I'll explain to you why that works sometimes with a bear flag. It works with a bear flag sometimes, and in this case, it would be one of those times. If a pattern plays for too long, it's basically reset the RSI, establish a trend, and now even though there's a bear flag present, it more than likely won't break that bear flag. It'll just use it as support as a break into a breakout, right? And Tesla's a perfect example of that. We look at Tesla over here. Where's that? Right here. So Tesla was basically in a bear flag pattern at the beginning, which is basically a breakdown pattern. And Tesla continued to retest until it broke out, right? And this breakout was the basically the telling, like, hey, if you fade this breakout, you're gonna get wrecked. Tesla then went on to, by the way, rip all the way up from basically 367 all the way up to $5.64. People then started to try and take profit and try to sell into the rally. Rally went. Rally eventually got, exhausted, came back down halfway. I'm sure there were a lot of buy orders sitting right in here. The original disruption, right? Where price went up, hit, took off, and everybody was expecting to come back down here and maybe recapture this. Nope, nope, nope. It didn't happen. They basically took price off of this wick. See this wick right here? It took price out that wick and used it as support. So when you get a wick, that price tends to get recaptured or retested. Retested, everything's good. Took off, move. Now everybody's buy orders are set here, right? Because everybody saw the retest here. So everybody's expected another retest. And does it ever retest that again? No, it doesn't. Because this is how markets move when they move into these bear flag patterns, and they just continually, start to do their thing more or less. But from there, you had your bull flag, right? And you basically found support on that bull flag. Then you had another bull flag laying right there. And that bull flag broke out. So you had a bull flag into a bull flag, massive breakout move, later on. I'm not saying that Alta's gonna do that. I'm just saying like that's why you don't fade these, even though it's a bear flag pattern, because you're looking at years of consolidation. Even though it looks like it wants to break down, it's more than likely going to accumulate, break above, and then break out. Right. So that's the expectation. And usually these breakouts are massive. Once you get out of this big accumulation range, you're gonna be like straight up. So there you go. As you saw with Tesla. Elf, hey, first pullback the whole time. Right. This is the most disgusting stock I've seen of the year. I would love to see this thing get wrecked, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. It just continues to strive and hold support. So expectations is hopefully we see it come out the trend. and doesn't continue to just moon, because I would expect the company is going to implode if that happens. ARC, ARCH. So we got the bounce at the low. And we have a couple really bullish things with this one, guys. Really, really, really bullish things. So, one bullish thing is you are basically well above support, right? And you're probably like, how is that bullish? Well, it's bullish in the fact that you basically formed a higher high, right? You had the low move, you bounced, you're consolidating at a higher high. Not only are you consolidating at a higher high, you're consolidating at a higher low based off of this price action, not just this price action. So you are looking really structurally sound in this play, and you're at the low end of the range. Expectations are, I'll be real, I would like to see this get a deviation low, because if we can see them come back and just retest this liquidity here right around 98.35 and kind of look like they're bouncing, they're going to shoot straight through this, right? So that will be a really good sign to like, all right, I need to get in, right? I need to get into this play, because the deviation low would be a big bounce up. You would probably get a massive move off of that. I like the deviations because they tend to play out really well. And if you look at RSI, RSI are not RSI, but stochastic looks floored. RSI is hanging out right on the 50. So for me, even though I want to see this deviation, it looks to me like this is going to roll back up in here and continue to consolidate here. So we'll probably see continuous consolidation. You could probably take spot from here up, and then if it breaks out, great. If it falls back over, you know where it's going. Take your profit, and then look for a deviation. If a deviation never occurs, you're still in the play here. It's like take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit until it doesn't. Oh, let's see. Starbucks. Starbucks. What do I say about Starbucks? Not much. Looks like a distribution zone right here. It'll take much longer to take this thing down. This thing looks really freaking strong. We got the stochastic. We are forming lower highs, right? We got the RSI. We are forming lower highs. We're forming higher highs, lower highs. Now we're starting to form lower highs and still stuck underneath that bear dip. So it's not looking very good for Starbucks, because this could be an indication that this pattern will then turn into a reversal, right? So even though they went up here, they'll probably come back down here, right? And retest. This is what, is really good potential for this one. But with the strength of the market, that's kind of hard to see right now. But that would be the expectation with the way the move is playing out versus the stochastic and RSI, right? We'll see in time. Striker still kind of holding that upper range. Bullish kind of. I showed this right here, bounce back to here. They're close enough. And really it's going to roll back up and just kind of play between these two zones. In my opinion, I think it's going to consolidate up here. Probably come back to trend and then, take its next leg up just like it's done previously every time it's trend. So looking really good here. Okay, PSYOP is still freaking running. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, so this is this. Sorry, I got distracted. TTE. So TTE fall in price action. Really, I want to say this is almost a. I want to say it, but I don't want to say it. But I want to say like a bull flag, right? So you got falling price, consolidation, breakout move. Your double top here is the hard one to gauge, but really, if they can hold this price right around 57.20, they can roll back up, and this thing could really rip, right? If they don't hold this, oh, that's gonna get ugly, right? I think this was your M, but this can't really be considered a W because you're basically double top. You'd want a lower position for a W. So this one's hard to gauge, like what they're gonna try to do here, but they could come back down midway, come back up, and then M down. Like I don't know, and this pattern's a little weird, but I did notice that they came back into liquidity all the way over here with this right here, right? We do have the bear div, right? Or at least price div. It's not really bear div in reality. Well, I guess it is. Yeah, because you got a double top here. Yep, double top, lower volume. Yeah, I'd expect a rejection. So yeah, it could fall back into this kind of accumulation zone that it's been playing in. Not necessarily that it will come all the way back down to the lows, but maybe it'll play the mid range, right? And maybe roll into the mid and then take out from there. So that would be really bullish if it were to do something like that. But right now, stochastic overbought, RSI is looking weak, double top move. I'd say this thing rolls down, to be honest with you. Exxon, kind of hanging out the highs. It's like a triple top rejection here for me. We're not really moving into higher strength, right? A little bit higher here than previously over here, but like not really. It's kind of like almost equal strength. So the highest strength was over here, and that was basically right in here. And that's a much lower low than the rest of these. So we'll see how this one plays out. Not feeling too comfortable with this. I think it's a broadening projection, and like I'm looking for a couple zones here. One being like 92, 93, all the way down to 66. So and you're probably like, man, that sounds really bearish. Well, this is gas. So if it ends up playing out like that, it makes sense if everything else turns positive, right? If indices and stuff start to catch a bid, you're gonna see gas prices come down, the valuations come down with them. Chevron, similar situation, kind of consolidation zone breakout. Looks really floored on the stochastic. Looks really bullish above the RSI. I think Chevron actually looks really strong, guys. Like, Chevron could roll back up again off the 50, above the 50 spare bullish. So we're kind of on that breakout high, and we could use that as support as a move out. All right, moving into let's see. Noble. I've talked to you guys about this. I think it's a buy here. It's just volume is just so freaking low. It's just so low. Like they can't sell it down anymore. It doesn't. There's no sellers left here. The only reality here is that this thing reverses. That's just it. It either sits there and hugs the floor as a penny stock, or it reverses. Those are the only two options for that. This was kind of the zone I was looking for. It looks like it's catching a bid here. COP. So looks really strong. Kind of a double top strength here to here, which is really good because price is all the way up here. So that means that there's, I guess a little bit of deviation here, but the fact that we could even retest the same strength up here as we did here is showing that this could build, right? Could build long. So in my SE COP, it's really looking okay. If you look at stochastic here, stochastic looks floored. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Next tier I think is in an accumulation / distribution range. Right here, just basically playing the range, falling wedge. This is a bull flag. I think we continue to sit here and consolidate until we break out again. So the atypical flag move, right? Drop down, take off, drop down, take off. It doesn't look like it's breaking down. There's no fear in this chart. It's just accumulation distribution, right? Yeah, I'll take a look at it. There's a lot of good picks, guys. Though, like, don't stay focused on like last. We'll just say last bull markets tokens specifically. Try to look for new things. There's a lot of new projects out there that look really solid. Let's see here. Okay, this was kind of the bull flag here. Yeah, I think this is a breakdown pattern, to be honest with you. Not too bullish on this one. Doesn't look good at all. So TRP definitely could fall out. So BEP. Let's get that. Patera energy. If this plays, it'll be a head and shoulders inverse. Be a big play if it ends up playing out. That's gonna take some time. Valera, So Valera is kind of one of those ones that's kind of got a ceiling on it. 1, 2, 3 tap. Expectations coming down, and as you can see, it did. It did big time. It could roll up a little bit, but really this thing looks like a breakdown. So DRC. Let's skip that one for right now. I'll skip that. CVE, don't care. XY. DGI. Let's look at DGI. Dow Jones. So Dow Jones, yeah, it's basically a ceiling right there. It's kind of in a trapped position, to be honest with you. We got a little bit of a wedge pattern playing out here, or at least an expanding, broadening wedge, right? So broadening wedge playing out. The question is, do they get above here, right? If they can break above here, this thing could definitely go for all-time high. If they can't, this thing's going to fall back. I'd say at least this trend right here, which is basically your long-term trend. Man, I'm sick from the trip. Euro dollar. Euro dollar looks pretty good. I think we're in like kind of like a bull flag. Um, I'm expecting a breakout. You know, it could occur here, somewhere's over here, whatever. We can continue to degrade against the dollar, but I think basically this falling pattern is gonna look, gonna push the euro above the dollar at some point. Again, we talked about oil, still expecting to move. Oil's still okay right here. The fact that they've been holding this long is really surprising, to be honest with you. I would have already expected a breakdown if they were going to break down by now. So not really looking for that. Dollar looks really strong. That should be really concerning, but understandable to a degree. If you're getting other currencies starting to rotate into the dollar, hence why you're seeing the euro's a little bit weak against the dollar right now, and there's a lot of other currencies that are too. I think the one was the only one that I noticed. I think even the one actually when I was looking at it. Yeah, yeah. I got sick from the trip. I think just like temperature difference, area difference. Um, yeah, this is that dollar zone though. So like I think dollar has a lot of room. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I could see $108, $110 easy. Even from where it sits right now. It's got this low just held, man. It just doesn't want to let it go. Same lows over here, all the way across the board. It just does not want to let that low go. So looking at that, man, like I think this thing could roll back up. Um, I don't know if it breaks above previous high, but I know it could definitely retest, something similar to what Google did. Yeah, yeah, I talked to a lot of people, man. So many people. That's how I got into that shitcoin. I was like talking to some people and stuff like that. But yeah, like I've been learning a lot about like NFT liquidity pools and like how to read them, stuff like that too. So it's like definitely been conversating on that. There's a lot of arbitrage in the market. You just gotta play it right. Yeah, yeah. We'll look at Roblox, sure. Apple's just for me is consolidation. I don't really see a lot going on here. This is not a byproduct for me. I don't think retail should. I mean, to each their own, but like I don't think retail will really capitalize at all at buying Apple. It's such an overweighted stock. Like bigger players, it makes sense, but like retail, it doesn't. Looking at price, so we talked about this. Shopify broke out. It's basically going to be a consolidation, then a breakout, consolidation, probably another breakout, and then consolidation, maybe a ABC down, back to our two, and then a move back out from there. So that's the expectations there. Um, Tesla, I chopped up a lot of my chart that I did have, and yes, there's gaps still here and all that good stuff. I'm looking at it like this. We're basically in a big broadening wedge, right? That's where we're at. And we're right now kind of playing the middle, right? And do we go up or do we go down? The likeliness is that we go up, right? Because we're already above the middle. So looking at that, it's like we'll probably hit the higher end before we hit the lower end. Does that mean Tesla's a buy? I mean, if you're a long-term bull, sure, like buy it, but like the reality is that I'm just not interested at Tesla Like I'm just not like there's just better picks again. Like this is it was a good play. It just I think people are doing something they shouldn't be doing, and what that is like making a lot of money on Tesla and then putting it back. Right? I think that's a horrible method. Um, it can work out for you in a sense if you have faith. But if Elon Musk were to die tomorrow, how much of that liquidity you think would stay there? That's sitting there right now. Anybody?
I have no idea. I
I
guess they would dump it probably.
Right, they would dump their bags, right?
I think a majority of people would dump their bags. Maybe 35% might stay. Right. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's not a good investment when you're investing on one person versus a company. Does that make sense?
But you already said, like, I mean, the company is innovative. It's not, I mean, like on the surface, it seems like we're just investing in Elon, but it really is a great company worth investing.
I mean, to a degree, but if Elon again, if let's go to, and I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying entertain the idea. If Elon were to die tomorrow, would the company continue to go the same direction it has been going, or do you think it might go a different direction?
But I think it would attempt to do it, but it wouldn't be able to.
When Walt Disney, right? Remember Walt Disney? When Walt Disney died, did Disney continue to go the direction Walt Disney was doing?
I was gonna say something so inappropriate, but probably
I
not.
mean, no, I'm not. I know where you're saying, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even saying from any type of like perspective. I'm just saying in general, right? And I would argue no. I would say like they changed a lot of their ideas, the way that they directed the company. They did add some innovation and stuff like that, with online streaming and everything. But like, and I'm not even talking about their ideologies or anything, guys. Like I'm just talking about like just general practice, right? Um, so when you look at it from that perspective, like I would say that they completely changed in the way that they were, right? And they became, in a sense, very profit driven versus product driven, right? And when you become profit driven as a company, you tend to not, I would say, attract customers. You tend to drive customers away because they see that you're trying to penny pinch them for everything you get out of them. I mean, if you look at tickets on average, like Walt, even when the economy was bad, he tried to keep tickets within, I would say, an affordable range for a lot of people. um Disney continues to drive that ticket price up year by year and say that there's reasonings behind it. Well, he didn't do that. So when you look at it from that perspective, from like just a general perspective, like the company changed as a whole, and you see this across the board, in a lot of ways with many companies, is that one guy can derive a company, but if that one guy leaves, that company tends to degrade by a lot, right? As far as value. And that's why Disney kind of runs sideways and not up. It doesn't really profit anymore as far as for its stockholders. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I didn't think of it like that, but yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to tell you guys don't invest in Tesla or don't buy Tesla. That is not a good stock. What I am telling you is like you're keep in mind you are investing in a singular person, not a company. At least on a good chunk of the liquidity. Does that make sense? And yeah, I would agree, Saul, that Elon Musk is bigger than Tesla. He is.
I'm kind of conflicted with this one though because like I think back to when Steve Jobs died with Apple, like
Uh,
Apple just kept shooting up, and like Steve Jobs was that guy. So I just I feel like Apple. I mean, I feel like Tesla now with the internet. I mean, Elon is bigger, and I
yep.
mean it was a different time with Steve Jobs, but it's like I just think about I think back to that.
Yeah, I feel like it and what you're talking about for me, and maybe this is just, and maybe it could repeat again, right? For me, that time, and I'm a millennial, just so you guys know. So millennials basically experienced the biggest boom when it came to tech in the world. Like out of every generation, millennials saw the most. But I would say for me, like when you look at something like Steve Jobs, like that was still kind of in an era when where tech was feeling itself out, right? And so there was a lot of potential for tech to expand in those areas, and Apple really did. Apple capitalized on it even after Steve Jobs. But like I feel like now like there's a lot of stagnation in tech, right? And nobody wants to admit it. Nobody like it's like the unspoken conversation. But like, and this is why the whole I think AI narrative came along is like, oh, we're doing AI. Oh, we're doing AI. Hey, we're doing AI, you know? And you got every company saying they're doing AI. And it's because they have nothing. Think about it. They have nothing. There's no innovation left in tech, man. It's crazy to think about, right? Um, even I would say with even with CPUs and GPUs, like we are getting very to a point where they've capitalized slash we'll say built so much into these to where you can't run a computer without, liquid ice almost because the speed that they run at is already too high of a temperature to be sustainable without some kind of extreme cold. Um there's a lot of things that we're so far ahead on, but we don't have resolutions to go further, right? We've hit a ceiling, I'd say, as far as innovation goes. Now we
No,
could break through that. What's that?
it almost feels like the entire tech, like the way technology is used has to change in order for us to innovate. Like
Correct.
and like it's
Yes.
like basically saying like we have a car engine and like we have to completely get rid of the car engine and have like a nuclear engine now. Like that's the way it needs to go.
Yep. Innovation has to change. It keeps trying to use the same tools and the same things it's used for decades now. Like I think the next generation, at least my daughter's generation, will probably be the next millennium, right? Where we'll break those barriers and we'll break those ceilings. But I may not see it, and some of you may see it before you die. It's just I don't think that we're there, right? I think that companies just haven't figured that part out yet, and neither have investors because investors have over evaluated a lot of these companies based
And
on
neither have the politicians because they're going to keep like stifling these companies and, making laws. I don't know. Like they're so scared of AI. I mean, I understand, but
yeah.
they're
And
just
well,
stifling innovation as well.
with the AI, like I don't even know what they're targeting with AI, to be honest with you. Like the AI I've seen is like somebody goes and like copies somebody's voice for like music, or somebody can mimic somebody's visuals and make them look like them, but you could see very clearly that it's an AI person, or you can see very clearly that it's an AI song, or hear very clearly it's an AI song. Like there's a lot of ways to tell. Like AI is just not there yet to really mimic a lot of those things, but AI can do I would say some innovative things, and that would be like, and this is where it's really going to screw people, write scripts for movies, right? It could do that, or at least
I
give you an
mean,
idea.
they're already talking about giving out licensing and taking it away and stuff. Like, I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
they're already gonna start gatekeeping.
they could try. Like people just leave the country if they're really that interested, and you know that's where they'll create innovations elsewhere. Um, yeah, I don't know with the again. I think with the AI, it's kind of similar to what I said with chips and GPUs. It's just we're not there yet. But like there are things that work with AI, but like it's not anything groundbreaking, I would say, right? If you could get AI to self think to like maybe it's like a drone and it could attack like it's a target or something like that with on its own decisive decisions. Yeah, that would be groundbreaking. But that's not the world we live in, you know. Like AI right now is very dumb. You can ask a certain questions and it just can't answer it. So like when it comes to self thinking or making self decisions, I don't think AI is there for decision making. It's there for like creation in a sense, right? Or creative ideas. it can help with creative ideas. It just can't self think. Does that make sense?
They already have kamikaze drones that'll deduct if a target's a target or not and dive bomb on them.
But that's just targeting. Like I'm talking about something that can come in and say, okay, they can see there's hostages, right? And not deal with that situation. Versus like see if there's not hostages, or like because you technically you could target a person or target an area, and that target's already built in. That's to me that's not really AI. It's just sensory, if that makes sense. It just kind of senses what it is, like scanning, so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I was reading it's like they're actually wanting to expand it to AI, but right now it's a parameter based decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got certain options that will abide to, and then it bases it off like 4 options or whatever it has available to it. Whereas AI itself would be able to self think beyond those 4 options. So one thing I would say to keep an eye on, and this is something I'm invested in too, ARKK, not AR, I'm not invested, but I think this is a bid. I do think ARKK looks good, but what I'm looking at is Palantir. But we'll talk about it in a second. So this is Lucid. I think Lucid's again another falling wedge. Slow. You got your slope. You got your lower move right here. You got your stochastic, and here's the thing: your stochastic's really high from here, so that shows that like they're really trying to catch this move. And you got a tightening move. You're coiling. I think you're moving up, right? Because you already hit your low here. You came back up, you formed a higher low here, and you're really holding strength here. And if you could just get above this 50, boom, they could pop, they could start building long. So like in this zone right here, this is a buy for me. If price breaks down, I think it's a good buy. You could DCA it in, or you can like take your position here and eat the degradation of the move, and then let it kind of pop out on the zone. But yeah, this is the low end of the move. Really, you got a lot of upside to capitalize on here. So like I've been buying Lucid. You guys are getting that, so that's a position I've been taking. We look at total crypto market cap. Altcoins still holding really well here. Not really broken down quite yet. We're seeing a lot of liquidity move in, right? A lot of liquidity moving in total market cap. So maybe a retest up here around like 1.15. So that's 1,150,000 or $50 billion. $50 billion. Will probably be the retest of the high here. And then, once we get up to like right around here, I can bet you the market will probably start taking right there. Let's move it. And we'll get into BTC kind of near the end. We look at QQQs. QQQs look good. I still think they roll over, kind of catch support here before it moves. I know somebody else yeah. I'm not too bullish on that. Let's see. Somebody asked for something here. Roblox. Okay, yeah. I'll pull up Roblox just a second. And then Casper, right? Casper was the other one. So TLT looks good. Consolidation. Probably a move back down to the lows, really, to be honest with you, on TLT. And then you could play this to the highs. Bonds play, just FYI. Dash kind of coming back down to trend beautifully, right? Beautifully back down to trend. Maybe it'll hold. These are the lows. Looking to get in Dash. This is where you do it. And then roll up, or so on and so forth. Not too interested in Dash personally. NASDAQ looks really crazy right now, but you can see right here, you basically got an ascending wedge. You're hugging the high. This thing I think is gonna come down. So I'm looking for roughly probably a rollout down to 12,860. Probably a retest of the high here, 13.5, and then maybe a roll down to the slower zone around 12.2. But NASDAQ is not looking good here. Like I don't like it. It's a beautiful ascending, hasn't broken any structure really. It could really pop out too, just like this did over here. But the reality is like I think this thing fails and comes back under the ascending wedge. Could be wrong because a lot of things look bullish, but like that's what I'm saying. Russell here. Russell caught a bid, so it'll probably bid back up to the high here. Right around 1940. Get a lot of people bullish. Get up to that 382, and then kind of roll back down. Russell under the 50 isn't good. We tested it beautifully right here, but the reality is like I think Russell comes back down to these lows for around 1650. HYG. So this to me is a continuation pattern. Yes, we caught a little bit of a bid. I expect this thing to drop, right? Boom, 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 drop. If we break out, no biggie. I'll expect a drop will happen over here, and all that will mean is that the pattern switched up a little bit, which means it'll pop out, and then it'll start to break down there. So that's what I'd be expecting off of that, right? This could always move the other way, but expect that it's going to catch that resistance. This will get a lot of people bullish, hit that 77.50, and then it'll start to break down below. So HYG high yield bonds or high yield corporate bonds, basically stating that people are taking on a lot of risk because high yield is high risk. Granted, it's bonds also though, so keep that in mind too. I honestly don't care about the debt ceiling. I think it's all BS. They could say, oh, the Bitcoin fell over. If anything pulls back, it's because of a retrace. It has nothing to do with the debt ceiling. Now, will people say it has to do with the debt ceiling? Sure. But the reality is that debt ceiling is something that's really easily resolvable. They just need to agree to disagree and do what they got to do to, take care of the debt ceiling situation.
But do you think that if they start printing money again, do you think that that's gonna?
Can't print money if you got a debt ceiling.
I mean, if they raise the ceiling.
If they raise the ceiling, it has nothing to do with print. That's the thing. Like raising the ceiling, it doesn't mean they're going to print money. What it means is that they're going to pay their bills. That's what it means. A lot of people, maybe people don't know that or not, but so the debt ceiling is just an expansion on current, we'll say current bills and stuff like that. So they pay I don't know, Border Patrol X amount of money every year. That's on a budget, right? So they need to raise the debt ceiling to be able to pay those budgets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. We did this not too long ago, right? I mean, like last year or a year and a half ago.
Every year we do it. Every
Is
year.
it like a refi?
Yeah, it can be a well, it's not really a refi. So the government has debt, right? And then the government continues to build on that debt, and it's doing that to pay its own bills. So the debt ceiling is more based around the bills that we owe versus coming in and adding liquidity to the market. Now, keep in mind, debt ceiling raising can appear to be bullish, but it's basically just the government paying its bills. So if the government's paying Border Patrol, the government's paying we'll say National Guard, government's paying like all these different entities, Congress, all those guys, like they're all getting paid through the debt ceiling, right? So the debt ceiling being raised. So you could say
I read
that
something about. Oh, sorry.
but no, I was just gonna say good.
I read something about that. If they don't raise the debt ceiling, then the government, I mean, well, those government services that you were mentioning don't get paid, and then that would be bad for the general economy, right? And
it would be short-term bearish. So, and I mean very short-term. So that's where you would see the market look like it's going to puke, and everybody's going to say everything's going to hell, and it'll probably be a retrace, and then they'll be like, "Hey guys, we resolved the debt ceiling," and everybody rallies back in. It's really stupid. It's really dumb. It's a bait for retail, is what it is. And what they'll do, and they probably will play it that way, right? The markets will pull back, pretending like it's a real thing, and then everybody will get all cautious. They'll agree to come to a resolution, and then at that point, they'll turn it back around. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we came to a resolution," and then what happens? Oh, guess what? Now there's no more problems with the debt ceiling. Debt ceiling's taken care of. The short term, I would say, bearish thesis is that if this is the part that hurts, I would say in a sense, but and can hold price lower, like where it's not in this breakout pattern like we've been in. If they don't raise the debt ceiling and some funds default, right? So like, say I have 15 million a year going to Border Patrol, right? That has to be renewed every year. If the debt ceiling overlaps that renewal, because that renewal can't occur if there's no money to pay it, right? It can only occur if the money is there. So that could overlap a renewal of one of those contracts and literally fuck that department for X amount of time until they get a new one put in place, right? So if they let it overlap and it overlaps into like some kind of renewal situation on debt, then what'll happen is that sector will get screwed for X amount of time until they get a new one put in place. So that can be short term bearish by like months, right? Like 2-3 months, something like that. Nothing too huge, but that's the way I take it.
The way I was explaining to this too was that the government doesn't have a way to prioritize payment. So like they can't prioritize like Social Security or Medicare if they wanted to. It's kind of just more like first payments go out when they're due. Like they just have like a really outdated system that can't do that.
Yeah. That would be the other issue is if you are on Social Security, you're on any type of payment system, like you could get delayed by a shit ton. So and because if the debt ceiling comes into play and those payments need to go out, those payments come to a halt. And it's kind of like if you went to go get unemployment and they're like, okay, file for how many months you're behind or weeks, you'll be doing that, but you'll have to live until you get that next check, right? You could be waiting weeks to months to get your money. So it can be bullish, like I said, in the short term, or not bullish, sorry, bearish in the short term, but it will flip back around, right? Once that money ends up back in hand, everything will free flow, and really it could cause a spurt, right? So that would be your big pullback for the markets, and if that were to occur, and then all the markets will pull back, everybody would call for lower lows. But the reality is once that money hit those people's hands, everything takes off again, but faster, right? Because that Social Security that those people haven't received, they now received it all in one lump sum. And what did they do during the time they didn't have the Social Security? They cut back, right? So they stopped spending as much. So when somebody gets a lump sum, especially your average consumer, they tend to spend it in ways that they shouldn't, right? Whereas every month they may have been spending that on some bills, some gas, maybe a couple movies. Well, now they've gotten screwed out of that for multiple months and had to use their savings to stay alive. And now instead of getting 2,000 a month, they've now got 6,000 because they had to wait 3 months to get their money. And that 6,000, what they'll do with that, rather than save that and use it like they normally would, they'll go out and buy some new shoes, buy some new clothes. They will stimulate. Does that make sense? You never want to see a situation where, at least for me, right? if you want to be bearish, you never want to see a situation where you get money held back and then kind of paid out in bulk because consumers act freaking ridiculous when they get bulk payments back.
So you think we can get a little pump with that if that were the case?
If that did happen, you would get a dump and then you would get caught with a really good pump off of that dump.
All right, so there's an opportunity there.
There's an opportunity for arbitrage there, right? If it plays out, you can sit. If you're sitting in cash, you can buy the dip, wait for that, those bulk buyers to get in there, and then they'll pick up your bags from there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there will be blood on the street that occurs. So yeah, the time to buy would be when there's blood on the street, and there will be quite a bit of blood that happens. But expectations are structures hold, all that good stuff. Again, for me, like I've kind of outlined this for you guys. So like this is red is your bear, right? Green is your bull, and gray is your accumulation. So we're in accumulation. Now, does accumulation mean you can't revisit lows? Definitely not. Like we revisited lows right here in accumulation, right? Midway through, right before the halving. Halving is all the way up here. We could revisit lows again before the halving. So don't let anybody tell you different. Definitely could happen. I personally, 1, 2, looking for a third, and then I'm looking for an ABC back down. Right? That's the expectations here. The part where a lot of where a lot of traders are going to get screwed up, right? Is they're overcomplicating this situation. They want to fail here and come back down. No, you want to fail higher, because if you fail higher, you're going to have a bigger pullback and it's going to be a lot nastier, right? And really it can send you right back to the lows. If we're to fail here, I mean, our biggest pullback is going to be like the 20K. That's it. Like we're not going to go much deeper than that, because you got all these buyers here that bought here. They're like, screw you. Like, hey, we already bought here, and they're going to buy back in to support this price. So there's a lot of people waiting for this. So the expectation is they swing away from that, maybe come up, hit the highs here. Now, ideally, I would like to see it kind of stomp out somewhere around 36, 37 support as your third leg. So you got 1, 2, 3 legs up, and then you get your A into your B into your C down, come across, and then roll out, right? And that'll form a higher low, right? Higher low than the previous low. That would be bullish. That would be going into the halving, and that would look good. Now, structurally, we can also come down and double bottom. Structurally, we can also come down and follow trend, right? So there's a lot of ways this can play out. So since we have 1, 2, 3 spots here, what should you be doing there? DCA,
DCA,
Sorry, I was trying to get to the mute button.
DCA,
DCA.
DCA. And if this never comes, guess what? Let's say this is the only thing that comes right here. You DCA here, you get back above here, start playing here, you DCA this way.
So
Why?
even if we have a
Because this is gonna go. What's
You're,
that?
you're just waiting for confirmation on either side.
Yep, on either side.
even if we just fall back to the higher C level, that'll still mean alt wreckage, correct?
Oh yeah. If we fall back to higher, look, every time that Bitcoin, even if it forms a higher low, like it did over here, alts formed lower lows. They got obliterated. The altcoin market does not handle this kind of pullback very well at all. It will bleed hard. And you got to think a lot of alts are still near their lows, which means what? They're going to go pretty freaking deep if that happens. So entries will be there. They'll be available. But here, I'll give you an example. I like to use Cardano favorites. So right here is March 20th, right? That's Bitcoin's pretty much bottom on its second move. If we pull up something like Cardano, I have it open over here. Yep. And we look at the bottom here. March 20th, same date. What do you see here?
Lower low.
low.
Lower low, right? Let's go back to Bitcoin. What do you see here?
The higher low.
Higher low.
Higher low. This is why you kind of wait for this to occur and then start taking positions, right? Why is it a lower low for alts? Because most alts are bleeding into Bitcoin at that point, right? A lot of alts are pushing into Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, I have a theory, okay? I have a theory that Ethereum is doing well because of shitcoins. Just keeping it real. I think shitcoins are keeping Ethereum afloat. If it weren't for shitcoins, Ethereum would be licking the floor. So we'll see how that plays out at the end of the day. Maybe all the shitcoins capitulate with all the altcoins, and we see a big pullback in Ethereum. But for now, you got to play the moves.
Like all the shit coins and rugs kept Binance healthy.
Precisely, exactly. And it's funny because nobody talks about that, right? Nobody talks about how the shitcoin market is what's actually floating Ethereum and Binance, right? So if we look at this right here, again, 1, 2, expecting 3. We come over to BTC. Where are we holding? Boom. Look at that. Where's our price? Where's our price? 27.4. I literally caught the bottom of this for a long guys. This is crazy. But if we look here, we're basically accumulating where we were previously accumulating. Right? Price is coming to what? The trend, and then what's price gonna do? We're like gonna react to the upside. And everybody up here is gonna be telling me how Bitcoin's going to 50 freaking K. But all the shit coins, all the altcoins will run with Bitcoin up here. Everything's gonna run. So keep that in mind also. It'll be a good time to capitalize on that move. Because my expectations are we hit that, we break down into an ABC fashion. That's our 20K move right back down here, right? Why would it come all the way back down here? Because typically once you get to your 3 impulses, you come back to your 2. Your 2, which is right there. Right? We'll come back, hit the 2. It could be 19.6. It might be a little bit higher. It might be like 20, right? Really, you should be looking to get in, I think, personally, around 21. Just to make sure you don't get scalped out of the low. So that's the move right now that I'm expecting for Bitcoin. Until Bitcoin shows me different, right? What is different? Well, if Bitcoin comes down and touches this liquidity, oh, that's not going to be good, right? If it comes down and touches this liquidity, more than likely it's going to come back up, retest this liquidity and fail, and it's going to start failing. I don't want to see it come into this liquidity zone, personally. Not where we are now. Because if it does, it's going to be downside, which means all my shitcoins that I'm in, I'm going to get wrecked on. We'll see at the end of the day how this plays out. But again, I'm definitely going long for this. And it's not me long as in like I'm bullish. It's me long as in that's what the chart's telling me, guys. Like this is what it's telling me. You have a long accumulation sideways, no break of structure. Yes, you have a lower low. Yes. But you're also in that accumulation zone and you're playing right in that liquidity, right? And I've identified the liquidity. I've identified it. It's the wick right here. It's the bodies right here and wicks. And that's basically exactly where we are. And since we came out of it right here, we have not attempted to come back down. Now, if you look here, remember, see my 1 here? Look, how does the structure work? This is why it can't come into here. I'm gonna show you why. Okay, I'm gonna show you why. Because if this is an impulse move, where can this go to? Anybody? If you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what's the lowest that your 4 can go? If it's an impulse move.
Isn't it back down to your 2?
Nope.
24.2.
Not a price. Where can it go?
Half of 3.
It cannot violate your 1. So your 1 is from here to here. Okay. So if you want to stay in bullish momentum, you have to stay above your 1. Did we stay above our 1?
Yes.
No. Or
Yes, we did.
oh, okay.
Now,
Doesn't
you're probably looking at the 1 itself. The 1
Oh.
actually occurs here at the corner, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Where price was at its peak. You don't want to violate peak price of structure, right? If you come up, your peak price of structure needs to be support or it needs to stay above that, right? Which is exactly what it did. It came up, it came back, and it stayed above the 1. And then it pulled back at the low right here. And that was basically the breakout of both of these moves. It retested liquidity. So now you got your 2 formed, and now you broke your 3, and now you broke your 4. Your 4 needs to remain above the 1, and it has. So since it has remained above the 1 and my price target hit and it didn't break into my other liquidity zone, which has been around 25, 230, if you broke into that zone, you're screwed because you're starting to violate the 1. Once you start violating the 1, you're going to start moving the other direction. So because they held, price expectation is up.
Now, is that bodies or do wicks count on that?
You don't want anything in there. You don't want wicks. You don't want bodies. They cannot retest this liquidity. This is where they broke through, right? If they start pushing into where they broke through, what does that mean? That means they're losing ground against bears. And more than likely, bears will win this move. Because if they start tapping this liquidity, they're more than likely going to think of it like quicksand. They're going to start getting sucked into it, right? And now they're trapped here, right? Now you've got a clear downtrend. Then bulls will try to rally. They'll come up and this will become resistance. And then from there, that's where you get your retest, right? You get your breakdown into your retest, and then you're going to fail. And basically, you're going to come back down probably at least tier 2. More than likely, you're going to recapture the entire move back to the lows. Make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
for now, it's up. Right? Now, here's the thing that we can't forget. Only 3 impulses happen. 1, 2, 3. After 3 impulses, liquidity starts to get taken. Right? After you've gotten 3 impulse moves, the market has been conditioned to accept price, to accept higher highs and higher lows, and think that buy the dip mentality. And then the market starts moving against them, buy the dip, moving against, bounce back up. This is their buy the dip, right? Oh, better price opportunity. Look, we went lower than we did previously. They're not looking at the lower lows. They're not looking at they violated the 1. Better opportunity, right? They break into this price zone, bounce back up, hit right up here in their 4, and then they break down further. Because the market maker accumulates, then the market maker distributes. This is the distribution over here, the big distribution, because the market maker distributes in both directions. Keep that in mind also. They accumulate in one and they distribute in both. What does that mean? It means accumulate, push, distribute all the way down. Accumulate, push, distribute. Accumulate, push, distribute. And then up here, they're just continuing to sell at what we would call the premium price, right? So this is just a premium price sell. They're distributing all the way through this to retail. Retail up here is running the market, right? And the market maker is the one feeding retail all their buys. Because for you to buy, someone has to sell. Who's selling to you? Market maker. Market maker selling to you. So they're distributing to you up here, and then they're going to catch the knife, and that's what they're doing right here. They're accumulating, and then they're going to push, and then retail is going to push it the rest of the way. And then they're going to sit here and they're going to play it, and then they're going to drop hard, right, and push into liquidity because the market's going to continue to buy down all the way down. And then the market's going to freak out a little bit, then they're going to give them a little bounce. Market's going to buy back into the move, and then they're going to sell back into the market again. And then this right here, even though we have 1, 2, 3 impulses, guess what this ends up being on a bigger scale? This ends up being on a bigger scale, leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, leg 4, leg 5. Funny how that works, right?
The macro goes into the macro, goes into the macro.
Exactly. People can't zoom out. They can't think bigger than what they see in front of their face. This is why I'm like, oh, this ain't possible. It's not possible. Looks like a good retrace to me. Wouldn't you say so on a macro scale? But this is why I'm able to see past a lot of other traders. A lot of other traders, they can only see what's in here. Right? They look in here and they're like, oh, what's going on here? Yada, yada. They're like, okay, this is what's going to happen next week or tomorrow. And I'm sitting here gaming out my entire game plan all the way into the next moves. Right? I know what's going on here. So I know because they began the impulse move, they're not going to be done with the impulse move, right? So they're going to impulse up, they're going to ABC down, and an A into a B into a C, all the way up here to the 3, and an ABC back down. And look, what did it do? What did it do here?
Higher high or higher low.
Stayed
But
above
also
the
doesn't
1.
doesn't violate the 1.
Doesn't violate the 1, right? Doesn't violate the 5th wave. Doesn't violate the first wave of the bigger macro move. And then price moves up again. And then you get your ABC, which is going to be your corrective wave, which violates the 3, bounces up, uses the 3 as resistance, and then can violate the 4 and probably all the way down here to the 5. Right? Comes all the way back to the 1. So that's your 1, and that's where price will basically probably hold on the next market. So when we get up here and everybody's like, oh, yeah, we're never going back to 30K, guys. And then all of a sudden, guess what? We're back at 30K. That's all I'm saying. I'm giving you guys the alpha. Okay. I'm telling you guys what nobody wants to tell anybody. Look, I went to that party or all those parties, and every one of those influencers, guys, I'm telling you, they're saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm telling you right now. But they won't tell you that to your face. Not a single one of them will. Because you're exit liquidity. A lot of you are. And I'm not saying you guys, but like retail in general.
That means institutions are doing the same thing.
Yeah, they talk behind closed doors, but they save face on the news. It's exactly what happens. Like these guys know how to game, and it literally word for word. That's part of the discussion. You all know how it's played. That's part of the discussion, guys. Like this, I can tell you, it seems dirty. It's like, man, why would they do that? Because they understand. You would too if you understood, and that's why I'm trying to teach you guys that. I'm trying to teach you to understand. Because like it doesn't hurt me to teach people how to do this. I'm not going to change anybody. I'm not going to change the market, right? There's still going to be exit liquidity at the end of the day. That's why I don't mind helping people that want to be helped. And if people that don't want to be helped, they come in to be exit liquidity. That's what they come to be. That's just how these markets are, guys. As unfortunate as it is. And I'm telling you, like when I say bigger players, I mean like some of your top influencers. Like they were there at the party. They all know the game. All right, moving into the overall. Again, this is expectations here. You know, there is a probability of hitting this 164 based off of fibs. But, you know, if we want to be modest, take profit around like 100, 116, somewhere in there. And then just wait for the market because what did we say? 30K.
What would the percentage be from the 4?
From here?
Yeah, from the 4. Yeah, back before the next big move.
Oh, over here?
No, the first 4. So the first initial 4.
Yeah, you mean back here, right?
Yeah, where we're at right now.
Oh, yeah. So our pullback already occurred. This is your move. So your pullback was roughly about 16.69%, right? And if we look over here, probably close to a little bit more, 22.67%.
Does that match the next move? So this exact move, but in the next bull run, does it match the same percentage moves?
Oh, you mean like over here? No, because the thing is like your pullback here is going to be significant, but your 2 to your 3 is your longest leg. Does that make sense? So like your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to be much bigger here. This is going to be the chunk of the move right here. You're still going to get your 5th wave, but your biggest one to pay attention to is the 3rd wave, right? Your 2 to your 3. This is where you really capitalize from your 2 to your 3, guys. Like this is the money shot. This is the one you want to be in on. Like leg 1, man, you could have made some money, but like you're pretty much retrace almost the whole move, right? But leg 3 gets so high and you're gonna be using basically 36, 37 as support from there. Like it's not gonna go deeper than that from that position before it moves into its next leg. It's wave 5. So this is where you want to capitalize. This is really like it in reality. Let's say price doesn't go there and it goes to like 25 is support. Doesn't come out to 20, which there's a good chance it will probably hit 20, whether it be for a short period of time or accumulation time. But let's say it goes to 25, right? Your position here, you missed out on 50%, a 50% move, right? But if you look at it from your 2 to your 3, if you miss that move, that's 184%. And your pullback or your move to your pullback will be like 59%, right? This is why you want to take profit, because that's 189%. And by the time they retrace, guess what? You've already lost 3/4 of that. So you want to be looking to capitalize on these waves and then get back in on the low end of the waves. Now, it doesn't mean the bottom of the waves, it means the low end of the waves, right? That's capitalize in entries and exits. I did this through most of 2021, exact fashion, guys. I did it on XRP and quite a few other ones where I just literally waved it up, right? Sold at the high end of the wave, and then bought back in on the retraces, and then took it all the way up to the top end. And I didn't sell exact tops. Like probably I would cut it like this, right, on both sides, and I would just buy in, a little bit shy of where I think price would go, and I would buy in a little shy of where I think price would go, and I would sell a little bit shy of where I think price would go to the upside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Will, from that initial 5 to the 2, what are you looking for to confirm that you've reached the bottom? So, for example, from that initial 5 to the 2, right, you had it initially down to 20, and then you moved it back up to 25 or something.
Yeah, it's going to be between these two liquidity zones.
Okay, so you'd be looking at like DCAing at like 24, and then if it keeps going down further, DCA even more.
Probably so if it comes back and it holds, it's gonna hold the 4 here, right? Which is 25.8. So probably 26. And then if it can break into this, 24.5, and then 20 to 21. So 3 DCAs down based on liquidity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and each part you keep incrementally increasing as it goes down further.
Yep.
So like first initial is like 10% of your bag, and then 20%.
I would probably come in with more than that, because this is moving from your 2 to your 3, right?
Okay.
So like here, I'd probably come in with like 25%, then 35%, then remaining down here. And that sounds kind of off, because it's like, okay, well, if you do that, then you're basically sitting at 60%. You only have 40% to put in down here. But that's an increase. It's a 5% incremental increase from here to here. And you're taking less risk, right?
Right, you're protecting yourself from the fact that if it doesn't bottom down there, it bottoms it on the top, then you're still good.
Yeah, you got a good size in position at that point. So that's what I would more try to capitalize on this move than anything. And don't be fearful, like I gotta get it. Like just watch the move. It'll play. It's not gonna immediately bounce off. It'll accumulate. You'll see it start to accumulate. If you see it start to accumulate, start taking positions. If it starts doing this right here, then just assume it's probably gonna hold. Right? Doesn't mean it come in 100%. It means, a couple weeks in, boom, I took a position here. 3-4 weeks later, it's still here. All right, I'll take a little bit more of a position. 3-4 weeks later, it's still here. Guess what? I'm taking a bigger position because I'm expecting this to hold at that point, right? Time can be just as, I would say, just as powerful as the move itself, right? So even if expectation is a lower move, if it takes longer to play out, more than likely it's finding support. Does that make sense? Even if it was anticipated to come deeper. So sometimes you have to ignore where price can go and understand, hey, we've been sitting here for quite some time. This might actually be support. Kind of like what a lot of traders are not doing here, right? a lot of traders are ignoring that this thing is literally just running sideways. It's not breaking, right? It's just chopping sideways. Eventually, this chop sideways gonna go up.
Hey, Will, wouldn't you say that we still haven't gone through the boring, steady price action of the bear market? And that's what we're missing?
That's what we're doing right now. That's what we did all year. The market's been trying to shake people out the whole time. And it's kind of funny, but it is what it is. And at the same time, I missed the freaking bottom. It is. I mean, I guess I didn't miss it because like I was dialing in alts. I did miss it for Bitcoin. But because I was busy buying freaking alts instead of Bitcoin, which it worked out for me. But I wish I would have probably gotten some Bitcoin positions, which I didn't do. But I have capitalized more on altcoins than what I would have capitalized on with Bitcoin. So it's still kind of worked out for me. If that makes sense.
But it's safe to say that from here into like the halving, we could just go sideways and no action,
100%.
right?
Yeah. So like this is exactly like if you look here, look, this is exactly what I was pointing out before. This is your whole market, right? Gray is accumulation, red is bear, green is bull. So big bull, small bear, accumulation, bull, bear, accumulation. As you see, like as time goes on, these accumulations get flatter and flatter, right? Like we had this elevated accumulation, and now we're kind of leveling out in accumulation. And keep in mind the accumulation goes all the way into in most cases right past the halving. So you stay grounded below all-time high, even past the halving. Again, sorry, excuse me. Even over here, right? So you basically break down, come up, you're kind of holding this low. You're before the halving, right? You drop down again, you come back up, and you're still holding below this resistance going into the halving. Then you take off and you break all-time high, and then FOMO kicks in, right? You hold the high, you start to break down, you moving that down to the low, and now we're kind of back into this accumulation range. Now, the thing that a lot of people seem to forget is like once you kind of hit your bottom, which is probably what occurred, right? You can stay elevated for a while and then eventually later on come back. So really the reality is we could come up here, do whatever. We can play all the way up to here and stay elevated and then eventually just tank, right? And then continue to play it the high end again, not really break out, right? And then start to get above, and then boom, once you get above, you're going.
Yeah.
That's your bull. So that's the way I would take this thing. Like you're in an accumulation range, in my opinion. If you're buying alts, you have nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about. Right?
Exactly.
Like if you're buying Bitcoin, yeah, you might have missed the bottom. But like alts are going to continue to just keep getting thrashed through this accumulation range. You're going to get really good entries. Like I think Arbitrum was one of the ones I told you guys that I bought. It actually formed a lower low, like pretty recently, right? And that's what I mean by a lot of these alts is like they're going to continue to get thrashed through this market, no matter what Bitcoin does. Like they're gonna form lower lows, so on and so forth. Like so, just don't be overly exuberant about trying to feel like you're going to miss out. You need to jump in. Like just
I
take your
think this
time,
is the
dial in.
optimal. I think this is the optimal time to start accumulating.
Yeah. I would honestly like again. It's difficult to say, but like I would buy alts. Not financial advice, but like you're looking to capitalize. That's why you're in this market.
I
I
agree.
buy stocks too. If I want to capitalize on liquidity that's safe, I'll buy stocks. Right. If I want to capitalize on making a freaking stupid amount of money, I buy crypto. And so if I'm going to capitalize the biggest on it, it's going to be altcoins. So I don't know how to better say that. And I know that sounds horrible probably to some people, like, I love Bitcoin. That's fine. Love Bitcoin. I'm sure that's why a lot of you got into crypto was because of Bitcoin. But I'm just telling you where the money is. Money's on the floor. The stuff on the floor is the shit coins, which is basically all the altcoins, right? Not the shit coins themselves, but you get what I'm saying. All these utility projects, wink, wink. At the end of the day, it's all just BS. And you can see
Let's,
that by price. What's that? Go ahead.
I was supposed to say, let's be, we're all degens here.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Oh yeah, somebody put, wait for pullback, don't buy while it's pumping. Yeah, I agree. It's like, I just don't know when the pullback occurs. That's the thing. Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking to myself there, guys. Is somebody posted on that PSYOP thing?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I just something that popped up, and I always wanted to get your perspective on this because it's something that this is like my first real like bear market, like actually trading and being in the markets, and so I noticed that there's a crap ton of fear, right? Like the media, the markets, like there's a lot of fear being pumped out, and I know that that's right to keep markets calm, but have you experienced this in other markets? And I know it's different because of social media and the way things are now. Like we're more connected than ever. But like, does it seem like the trend just continues? Like there's when we're in bear markets, right? Like they're trying to, uh, push fear so they can push markets down further, so they can accumulate at better prices. And then once prices go back up, they start to scare you again. Like, is it always that?
Honestly, I think they're just stupid. Like, I'm being real. Like, I'm not being facetious at all.
Yeah.
I think the market always plays on the wrong side of the trade, and not the market, but the news, right?
Right.
So the news is always talking about something when it's popular. Does that make sense? So like if
Right.
Bitcoin's at all-time high, it's popular. If Google just broke into all-time high range, it's popular. If Nvidia is about to break all-time high, oh, it's so strong, everybody needs to buy it. But they don't talk about how it just ripped off the bottom by like 200%, right? Just stupid stuff from the media, dude. Like, you need it. Look, if you can't find stuff, and I'm not telling you guys to find stuff on your own, but I am, right?
Perfect example, Kramer.
If you can't find stuff on your own that they're not talking about, you will not make it. And I mean that more in the fact that, like, you will not make any fucking money. Like, you're gonna make barely anything. I mean, if that's the case, and I'm not saying you guys, right? Like, I'm just saying a person, right? If a person is not willing to go out of their way and research and find good stocks to invest in, which I always try to bring to you guys, you're gonna make minimal gains. You might as well just buy the spot, right? And I'm just being real about that. Like, if you're here to make gains, maybe beat inflation, SPY is your play, right? If you don't want to research, you don't want to learn, you don't want to take the time, then SPY is your play. If you want to take the time, lots of ways to look at it, right? So, and I actually had this discussion with somebody the other day, right? And they were like, PE. They talked about PE, and they were like, everybody was talking about PE. It's funny, yada yada. I'm like, PE matters. I'm like, but when does PE matter? PE matters when price is here. PE does not matter when price is here. Does that make sense?
What matters when prices are low?
When prices are low, what matters is, how do the books look? Are they insolvent? Are they looking at going bankrupt?
So value.
Value. That's what derives value. If none of those get checked off, if they're not looking at going bankrupt, they have money on the books, guess what? They have value. If they're at IPO pricing and they have value, is it a good buy? Regardless of PE? Yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
PE is at times can just be a random number. It really can, right? And PE at times, at certain points in the year, can fluctuate depending on what type of business you are. Because some businesses do better in the summer. Some businesses do better in the winter. Some businesses do well all year long. It just depends. So PE can fluctuate with those seasonalities. And really the reality is Zoom is at IPO pricing. Zoom, I don't care about COVID, whatever. Where's price? Is it at all-time high or is it at all-time low? It's at all-time low. Again, not trying to sell you guys on Zoom. I'm just telling you my logic, right? With how I look at these things. There are certain points where numbers matter, and there's certain points where somewhat numbers don't, right? You still got to do your due diligence on the company. In a company scenario, this will play, right? In a shitcoin scenario, aka an altcoin, this may not play out. Does that make sense? Anybody?
Yeah, essentially, like Zoom's a company that everyone's going to use, and they're just going to buy it when it's at value. Versus like shit coins, it's just pump and dumps.
Yeah, I mean, even an altcoin with utility could be here and could still form lower lows because that's just how crypto works. But when it comes to stocks, you have to derive value two things: PE if you're at the high, and where are you at in price when you're at the low. So if you're at a support at the low, you should be looking at a DCA. Look, I'll show you on Google where everybody should have been. They should have been buying, right? Again, you should have been buying anywheres in here. You can see my liquidity zone. I've had this up for almost a year. Right? This was the anticipation of where price will come back to. Why? Right here. What is this? What's going on here?
Distribution. Oh, sorry.
Is that a order block right there?
Yeah. It's consolidation order block. Exactly what it is. You have even highs, even lows. You have a strong support. Price did what? Came back, tested support. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Go.
And did that form a new order block right there where you just did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So if price comes back, where are we looking for it to come back to? We're looking for it to come back to the next order block and retest and probably hold the high above that. See how this works? That's all it is at the end of the day. Just knowing where the money's at. So this would be a bid if it came back into the zone. If it came back into 109, 110, you are going to catch bids. Anybody sees price come back here, they're going to see it as value. And they're not only going to dial in all the way down here, they're going to dial in all the way up here even. This is why you broke through the zone with such force. So that way you can make it to the next resistance. So you can come back to consolidate, right? The range to break out to the next zone. So what do we call that? Elevator down. Stair steps up. And if you look at it, you got 1, 2, 3 moves. And then you get your pullback. And then guess what? You got one, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If all plays out, right? If we don't end up in a catastrophic event and price starts getting violated, when does this cancel out? Well, it cancels out if our 2 ends up getting lower than our 1. Then which direction are we heading? Well, then in that case, we're looking at 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. And if that plays on the liquidity right over there. Always look for invalidations, right? I'm showing you the bullish side, but there is a bearish thesis that could play too. On the pullback, you want to watch the pullback. Pullback starts violating levels or we'll say previous patterns. That's where you need to really be cautious because that can play out against you really quick. Never get overly bullish, never get overly bearish. Just pay attention to price and where it's going. So that would be my Google thesis, right? One of these 2 plays out, but this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays, right? Now 2 probably won't come down to here. It'd probably be something like right there. 3 would be up here, 4 would be up here. Like it has room. This thing has like, your 3 could probably even break above all-time high and then maybe pull back into all-time high as support, right? And then your 5 breaks out from there. And your 5 is not going to be as long as your 3. And this is really just your 1, 2, big pullback, by the way. And now 2 can either land here or here, right? Either one. We'd ideally like to see it kind of land down here, right above the 1, violate, deviate low, and then break out 3, right? Kind of deviate into that lower liquidity, the liquidity left behind, and then break out 3. If it breaks into here, obviously it ends up being very bearish, then comes up to 2 to hit resistance, might even deviate high, right? Because your deviate high means deeper move. And then you're going to get that 3, which is going to basically retest the lower liquidity already hit, in which case it's going to bounce up to your 4, which is going to retest the liquidity right here. And then that's going to pull back down to your 5, which is going to retest your lows of your consolidation right over. And when I say lows, it's more kind of like in the middle, right? Your middle price action right here. That's what I would think would be the move. One of those 2 plays.
So if you want to get into Google, wait till 2029. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's if the bear plays, right? If the bull plays, you don't want to wait till 2029.
Right.
Go all the way up here. You'll be screwed. But yeah, so again, this is just, me just theory crafting in front of you guys, showing you guys kind of how this would play out in either direction. But I'm just showing you guys kind of like what you need to look for validations, invalidations, all that good stuff. And deviations is something I've just kind of come in tune with, pretty recently. Probably the past, couple months. And I've been finding them a lot, which is basically where price kind of violates a zone. And then that violation ends up resulting in a very we'll say aggressive move in the opposite direction. You get that heavy rebound move, and it plays typically better in the direction of the current trend, which the trend right now is up. So if you get a deviation low, it plays better to those because the bounce is going to be more extreme to the upside. Because a lot of people start shorting here rather than shorting the retest and setting their stop just above here just to make sure that they don't get stomped out. They start shorting here, they hold the short, it ends up breaking out, surpassing their short position. Now they're in the red, and it just comes back and stomps them out. So it's not a good thing. That's what happens when you play against trend. Never play against trend. Now, if violation ends up kind of coming down here, hitting your 1, you can take your short on your 2 because again, it's going to come against you again, right? You take your short on your 2, which is at resistance. Could even deviate high, right? Just kind of watch it. If it starts to play really heavily against the ceiling here, it'll fall over. If it breaks through, wait for it to come back through the support and take your short right on that support if it comes back, because more than likely it's going to violate it, and then it's just going to drop, right? This is why deviation high and lows work, because if you look here, you don't get a retest, right? What do? You just freaking nuke. And then you come back up, hit, and then nuke again. So deviations are really good for nuke positions. Retests are really good for slow drawdown that's going to catch support and take off. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're rolling up really nicely here on Google. The only thing I could see for resistance on strength is here, 70. So we'll see if that plays. That should put Google right around 138. Again, nothing big here. Like Google doesn't. It's not a lot of growth here in here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You went from like basically, I guess you went from like 80 something to like, I don't know, 125 or whatever. But like, there's just not enough here. I like to play a little more risky in the market, especially like stock market. I like to play low cap, mid caps. I think you capitalize very well off them. Some you lose, but most you win. So especially in the stock market, there's a lot of manipulation going on there. Let's take a look at Caspa. So Caspa here looks a little. Things freezing up. You guys can hear me, okay, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. What's wrong with
Yes.
trading view? Yeah. So there is support here. So I would not be too fearful to take a spot. Wouldn't short a long this, but like take a spot position and just have your stops kind of like below here. You're gonna get wrecked beyond that. As long as you can hold kind of this upper range, maybe around like 9. 1 cent will be best to really hold. As long as you can kind of hold this range, you have good potential for a pop up here. I don't know what's going on.
Are you holding this coin? Will?
No, somebody had asked about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just picking it up as a request. I don't know where my RSI is. Okay.
And real quick, I don't know if you already went over it, but I just got here. What was that thing about the PSYOP thing? You could just do that real quick.
Oh yeah, so the PSYOP's already like kind of on. Man, I really can't tell you guys about this, man. Like, I'm gonna be real, like it's already on the move. Like I posted it the other day, but like man, this thing's just ripping. Like you could probably get in for like a scalp. Like I wouldn't feel right telling you guys to buy this. I'm just gonna be real.
This is another shit coin.
Yep, it's another shit coin. That is correct.
Oh.
So I mean, if you guys want to, just like it's hard, man, because it just keeps going. But like, yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, feel free. I'll put it in the chat. But like,
If it was on another network, I'd play with it. But because it's on ETH, it's like
yeah,
with the gas and it already ran, it's like probably not worth it.
gas isn't too bad right now though.
It's
like,
not high right now, but
Yeah.
once I know
It's
my
like
internet's messing up.
Coin as well. It's a shit coin, right?
Yeah, Ben's a shit coin, but Ben is also by BitBoy, so they do have reputations to keep up with. So, I would go with that. If
So
that ends
what
up
you-
rugging, he would look really freaking bad.
So Ben.
Well,
Ben,
he kind of jumped into
Data-
this though. I don't know.
Ben is only 50 mil market cap. I think he has potential to get that to $1 billion. Especially going into the next market. So if you were okay with potentially holding the bag to like going into the bull to really capitalize on it, then I think it would be a buy at 50 mil. But like if you're not okay with that, then I really wouldn't take risk on that kind of
I'm
stuff.
not in shit coins, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Stay away from those fucking things.
it's got to be your thing, really, to be honest with you. And you got to know, like, I can play it because I know liquidity and I can see liquidity, right? It's just more difficult for other people. It really is.
It's just called Ben.
Those are the money grabbers, man. Those are the scam
Well,
coins.
people get they get so tied into it that they can't let it go, and then they end up riding it up and then riding it right back down.
Hey man, I made more money with shit coins than anything else, dude.
I know. Believe me.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen to those peppy boys.
And these are like
They're gonna watch their coins
I'm
go
gonna
up
put
and
these
hold
legit
it
shit
and watch it go
coins,
down.
not just the meme coins, dude. Like actual shit coins.
actual shit coins. I'm gonna put them in a
If
shit
you
coin
know
channel.
how to do it, yeah, you can make a ton of money, man. But people who are just into the crypto, this is a way that try to like
But
discourage
if
them.
you're new, don't do it.
You know,
Like, you don't know
exactly.
what you're doing. But like if you know how to play it, you're good.
Yeah.
I put them both in
I'll
the
probably
short term
add some-
coin.
That's why Top G is refusing these fucking things. Excuse my French.
You don't know shit about it. though.
These are both shit coins. All right, there. I put it in the chat and I put out here.
It's good. I'm buying
Right.
both, bro. And if I lose, I'm blaming it all on you, man.
So I'm blaming it on you.
Hey, I made a quick
What if you
2x on that.
win? What if you win?
I'll put it on my shoulders.
On your
Go ahead
shoulder.
with it.
I made a quick 2x on Turbo, and I was out within a day.
Yep. Turbo was good. That was a good one. Turbo.
But I did a
Turbo.
little bit of snail from Cardano.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I think everybody's eyes go off Pepe for right now. Yeah, I'll go on Psyop and Ben. Those two run, and then once these bigger whales get the liquidity they want, that rolls back into Pepe again. Probably, I think Pepe will do a double top move, kind of like what Shib did. So there's good opportunity there in a longer run, but like you got to be willing to sacrifice whatever capital you guys put in this. Like, you got to
Yeah.
understand, like you can lose that money 100%. And if you guys are not in a position to do that, do not play with these.
I've been lurking in Pepe's Twitter spaces, and those people are nuts.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, you can't argue with them. You can't fight them. Nothing. Like, they will come after you.
Just throw $100, chuck it, and pray.
Yep.
I
can tell you
mean, they're
this.
almost starting a friggin' religion about this shit at this point.
I know.
That's
It's
how
like
they
the Safe Moon idiots.
That's the ones that win though, dude. That's
Yep.
the ones who make a lot of
I
money.
think next bull run they may be like 39 bill or something stupid like Shiba was.
What,
Yeah.
Pepe?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking the same thing, dude. I almost left my $100 in. I might just fucking leave it in.
Yeah, I think, and they're low enough too. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's not low enough." It's like, dude, like if they hit 300 mil market cap or 400 mil market cap, that's low enough. That's exactly where Shiba hit when it hit
And the
its
deal
low.
with these coins is that they pop up so quickly, man. And by the time you want to check and want to take some money out, it's already down.
Well, what you're seeing now, it's like not even in a bull run, dude. So it's not even really a real pump.
Yeah.
It's
For
just
me, here I'll show you guys this real quick. To me, I'm just being real. Like, I can chart shit coins, guys, like 100%. I think this is an accumulation range. I really do. Like, as long as you're okay with dealing with the drawdown, like what I do with these, like if I'm looking to hold them into the next bull run, is I put them in a wallet and I don't fucking look at them. Because I already know that drawdown can look nasty.
I got balls of steel when it comes to that, man. I've seen so much money go to and then come
Yeah,
back.
that's what I'm saying. That's how I am too.
I'm
just
still
like,
waiting
bro,
on that. I'm still waiting on that Dogezilla, Will.
bro.
Still
Bro.
holding that back. I don't know if it'll ever come back, but fuck it.
Well, here's the thing. It might next bull run.
I know.
That's the thing. Because it hasn't rugged, right?
Yeah, I know.
And they're still active. So that's the positive.
Really, I haven't even checked on it.
But you can throw $100 on Pepe probably by the
Are you still one of the like top holders in that, Will?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No?
Yeah, I am. I'm wrecked.
You are, yeah. Okay.
I'm fucking wrecked.
I'm close to you, I think.
Yeah, if we get a healthy pullback, I'll be some liquidity for you, Will.
I'll be some liquidity. Yeah. Again, as like I know some of you may be new and you're like, what the hell you guys don't like? Just don't dabble if you don't know. All right. If you do know, then you know how to play it. So
This is heroin, dude. Be careful.
Yeah. This is meth. This is crypto meth.
Yeah.
bro, I'm up like on Psyop, I'm like 10x up right now.
God damn it, Will. Why didn't you tell me about that like before?
I posted it
Bro,
yesterday.
you gotta DM me, dude.
Yeah,
before
he did. He
I know
did.
you,
I saw
I know you
that.
can't post it, but DM me, dude.
Yeah, I can't go into, hey guys, everybody buy the shit coin.
You could DM
Yo,
me.
wait.
I won't say anything. I don't care.
When Andrew Tate posted his video, that's when Sayab went parabolic, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Really? That's what happened with that?
Yeah, basically.
And wasn't he saying he didn't give a damn about the coin though?
Yep. Well, he said, I'm gonna freaking dox you if you ask me again.
And we all got that insider alpha from the conference.
That's how it is, man. Those guys know. They know. Oh, look at Roku. I think it's freaking running. I don't like Roku though. I'm gonna be real. Like, even if it looks bullish, like it always gets these freaking spikes like this, and then like it did right here, just ran and falls over. It's freaking. Oh, that's one of the worst stocks. I mean, oh man, that's such a good range though. It's a really good range. Not gonna lie. One thing, I didn't point this out to you guys today, but I'm gonna give you guys the alpha. So see all this volume right here? Where is this volume occurring?
Redistribution.
Where is it occurring?
People selling.
Lower lows, or higher lows.
Occurring there. All right. So whenever you see volume spike against price, it's basically bottom, right? At least for now. At least for now. So the expectation, because if you look here, when price was dropping, volume was still rising, right? But now you're starting to see volume curve, and you're starting to see what with price? Curve, right? So what that means to me is that price is kind of found a bottom, rolling back, and it could form a higher low based off of volume dying down, right? Because if volume dies down and we're at a higher low, where do you think price is going to go? If volume's dead and we're at a higher low,
Up.
it's going to go up. Because what that tells you when you're moving this direction, if volume dies, that means all sellers have died. There is no one left to sell.
Yeah. All you gotta do is just watch the, to the left of the graph. You see all the volume going up. That's what tells you that it's going up. And then if you see all that red and volume going down, that's what you know that it's, it's done.
If you look here, see this area right here? Because we were in an uptrend, what happened to volume?
Very low.
Very low. What does that mean up here when you're at the high?
You're on the top.
You're at the top. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. They double top right here. And nobody paid attention and said, hey, look at the volume. How it's decreased massively since we've come up to this double top.
So can I interject for a second? So basically when the volume is low, no matter if it's on the high end or the low end, that means people are pretty much done with their moves. People are pretty much done buying and selling.
It's going to reverse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you say that's the agreed upon price then once it does that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That is the agreed upon price. And that's what I'm telling you guys right now. This is the alpha, right? Look, heavy activity, big buying, boom, no activity. High end of the range, you're going to reverse right here. Heavy activity, everyone's selling, boom, no activity. You're going to reverse.
Oh, I have a question. If you looked at that, well, that's already on the weekly. If you looked at that area like on the monthly, would it more look like a doji kind of? Would it be like a doji
Look at that
somewhere
on
in
the
there?
monthly. It's dead.
It's dead, yeah.
But is that candle like a doji over there?
Which one?
Like at the exact top.
At
the
the
exact
very top.
Yeah.
The very top. Yeah.
Let's look at it. I mean, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got another one there.
Right here. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So we got this one and this one right here. And you also have this one, right? It's like price is so weak up here. You can see it, right? And everybody's trying to force it, but look at volume.
And if you see this, the stochastic, when it's crossing, you could tell that it's going to go down.
Yeah.
When it's crossing, every time check the crossing.
Well, you got that. You got a bear div up here. Like, there's a lot of red flags, right?
Yep.
A lot of red flags. You got a bear div. You got a bear div on stock. You got a crossing on stock. You got a double top and you got low volume. Like everything's telling you here that this thing's gonna fall over, while everybody's screaming higher highs. And then drop down. Now we've done what here? What have we done here? Stochastic is
Accumulating.
freaking forward, right? Can't go any lower. Stochastic's doing what here? It's bouncing. What did we do here? We rolled the floor, right? RSI is even trying to come down a little bit, but it's holding the SMA, right? So the likeliness is that this rolls maybe a little bit deeper, but it's gonna start reversing back up because volume is also dying down on this side. See it? Your spike occurred here. So the second you start to see price spike, and we'll look at it from the monthly, like this right here, right? They've already stepped in trying to do what? What are they trying to do? Once you get
Try
the
to-
spike. They're trying
Try
to
to go
catch
up.
it. No, no.
Mhm.
They're trying to catch it, right?
Oh,
They're trying to slow the drop here. That's what they're trying to do. So then you get another one, right? That's them trying to catch it again. And then you get another one. And what do you notice in here? Lower highs, right?
Yep.
And then you're getting another one. What are you getting here? Lower highs, right? So as you're getting lower highs, that means you are consolidating, right? And as you consolidate, volume should drop really low. And when volume's at its lowest, regardless of where price is, you're looking to reverse.
Jesus Christ, I wish I would have found you before the bear market.
That's a really simple method too. Like a really, really simple method is just using, now you're using these other ones to kind of confirm, right? But you're just using volume and you're using chart candles. That's it. Just the two. And if you guys do that, you'll be good. You'll be good. A lot of these have done that, right? Like look at Zoom, for instance, right? Let's tighten this up. Boom, heavy activity, right? What's going on here? What's going on right here and right here?
Yeah, lower lows. It's going down.
Lower
Volume's down.
highs, right?
Lower
Lower
highs.
highs.
Lower highs. That's why.
Guys, we're gonna break out. It's a bull flag. Look, right? That's what everybody's probably saying. They're like, look, guys, it's a bull flag. Let's play it. Let's play it as a bull flag. I don't know, because if you look at it from my perspective, volume is dead, basically, right? And yeah, you probably could have wrote it down a ways before you actually realized it, but really you should have realized it here, right? And you would have still been kind of near your high, and you would have known that this thing was going to fail because you had no volume anymore. Your volume has died. And then from there, you roll over. Now, as you're rolling over, you're doing what with volume?
Try to build it up.
You're building up, right? They're trying to catch it coming down. This is your buy the dippers, right? Now, what are we doing?
Yeah. Reaccumulating.
We're dropping volume, which is going to do what? Going to roll this thing back out. Once volume gets to its peak low, you're going to get a big move up. And it's not like this, guys. Like, I hate doing that because like people like, and then they want to jump in, right? But it's gonna be a workout, but it's gonna start moving once that volume drops so much. And you could see on the stochastic, what do you see there on Zoom?
Yeah.
It is crushed. It is destroyed. Look at RSI.
Yeah.
It's still on the floor. I mean, what else do you guys want from this stock? What else? You want to see it at 44? You want to see it at 30? I mean, we all would, right? But the reality is that's not what's going to happen here. Not based on volume, not based on stochastic, not based on RSI. The reality is this is getting caught and it's going to come back up. So lots of these, lots and lots of doing this, right? So we'll take Amazon, we'll put it on a monthly over here. We'll drop it in, we'll look at it. Let's look at price. Boom. What do we see here?
It's building up.
Volumes building up. Look at that. So volume's building up. What's price doing? If it's an
Moving up.
uptrend, it's moving up, right? And then what do we see here?
Yeah.
Volume's what? Breaking down,
Yeah.
right? And so since volume's breaking down, we're going to get a retrace. Boom, retrace, right? Now on that volume breaking down, we get a spike right here. Look at that spike. What does that probably mean? Since you got a spike right there. You got a spike on this candle.
Probably a sell-off.
This candle looks like a sell-off.
No.
That looks like a strong buy, especially with a candle this big. Right? This candle is almost the same size as the rest of these candles, but the volume is much bigger here. They were looking to flip this up again. Right?
Yeah, you see the pressure with the doji, that is just building up to buy right there.
Yeah. The buyers have won this candle. So since buyers have won this candle, boom. Look. Now your
They
first
pushed it
red
up.
flag is here. You have no wick. That's your first red flag, right? Now price then shoots over and breaks up. One thing we notice from here is that you're at the top of the stochastic, and you're also at the top of the RSI. Now, here's the thing with the RSI. If we were to just simply do this from here to here, which one was stronger?
No lows.
This one was stronger, right? This one was weaker. How do we know that? Strength is showing us, right? You got a bear div here. You've got a bear div. Now, not only do you have a bear div, your volume is dropping off again, right? And then from volume dropping off, what do you do with volume? You basically run sideways, right? And because you run sideways, price then humbles with that. Now, if you would have taken and followed price and sold right here on the retest, would you have sold the high?
Yeah.
You would have sold the exact high of the move. But a lot of people would be like, well, you wouldn't have seen this. Yeah, maybe. All right, maybe you're right. So we wouldn't have sold here. Where would we be looking to sell? Would we be waiting for strength to retest here? Since this is a bear div? No, I'd be waiting for a price to retest our high. So a couple different ways you can look at it, right? And now a lot of people saw this and they were like, oh, stochastic's floored. So it must go back up. What did stochastic do before it fell off?
Sideways.
It literally just went sideways on the floor.
Yep.
Stochastic does not have to come back up. Never does. Just like it never has to come back down. Never does. It's just easier to indicate if you're in the middle of a move, which direction you're heading. Right? And what are we doing right now? We're in the middle of a move.
Building.
It's heading up.
So it's going to get up here. So strength is going to go up. Now, the question is, do they break the bear div or do they fail? Either way, you have a lot of upside left before that happens.
You just wait for the play, right? Just wait.
Let it play.
You draw the trend line, and then just wait for if it breaks.
So basically, you would bid this until it failed.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you do. So you'd bid it up to resistance. If the RSI got to here, yes, you could take the breakout, but that's not a good way to evaluate this. I wouldn't take the breakout. I would take it to the RSI. I would sell. I would sell it on the bear div, regardless of where price was. Price could be up here, price could be down here. But if you wanted to be extra safe, right, and you're close to it, and you're sitting here against resistance, double resistance, you could sell that.
Because you're in the RSI, you're in the 50, so it's not a good play. right?
Yeah, not here, but it more than likely will get up here again. Right? The way that it's showing here, the way the stochastic is looking, stochastic's not oversold. Right? So stochastic says we still have more moves to make. Because the stochastic never really plays in the middle, never diddles in the middle. It typically plays on the bottom or on the high.
Or the highs, yeah, bottom of
So
highs.
because we're already moving toward the highs, more than likely we're going to end up at the highs before we even should consider that either one of these are at top position. Both.
So like I said, and like on the RSI, it probably if it'll hit the 50 and then go back down, that's where your trend line is, right?
No, it'll probably go through the 50, which will
Okay.
make people get super bullish, come up, hit the bear trend, reject, and use the 50 as support.
Yep.
So it'll come up here, break out, do one of these, tighten, right? Tighten, and then start moving like this. And that'll actually make it more bullish, right? On price. So it'll come up here, roll back, and then maybe move into something like that. Now, again, bullish thesis could always fail, right? We have to just pay attention to price and look for invalidations at the end of the day.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, we're at 2 hours and 40 minutes, almost super late. I don't know what time is it? 11:48. Yeah, I gotta
I'll
call it a
wait
night
my
though.
past time.
But
Thanks, Will.
thank
Can
you
you just
guys
look
for
at
stopping by.
Roblox really
Oh yeah,
quickly?
yeah. My bad. My
Yeah.
bad. I forgot about
Thank
that.
you.
Sorry about that.
Almost 3 o'clock in the morning for me.
Yeah. Sorry about
I
that,
needed to
Erica.
hear your feedback from the
I think I have it on here.
man.
I had Roblox, bro. Oh, maybe it's on my YouTube. Or there it is. Yep. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So same thing here, Erica. Look, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Remember how we just discussed? We just discussed volume. What do you see with volume?
Yeah.
Oops,
Slow.
sorry, yeah. So the volume's low. The
Extremely low.
RS, the stock it's down and it's coming up. The regular RSI is pretty much at the midpoint or the 50, I guess.
Mhm.
Bullish div.
Yeah, you had a let's see, you got a double bottom here. You got a bull div on the double bottom. Right there. You're continuing to play long on the RSI straight. So you got this double bottom move right here, basically. That played. And then now you're continuing to play the trend. You look like you want to hold it. You could roll down again, but really this is going to be the support here, I think. Probably right around in here. I think that holds. And we tighten. Probably breakout, trade up to here. And your measured move is here to here. So if you break out, yeah, that can really ramp really hard.
Yeah, I figure I could get a position on the support, on the nearest support to where we're at now.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically where I measured from, was that support. And that's actually this is really nice looking, because let me get rid of this and get rid of this. The reality is this is a channel. And if it can get back into that channel, this will be really good. It should be from here to here, right? So
Because then it'll hold and start moving from there.
correct.
Right.
Yeah, that'll mean that this will be a deviation. This will hold, and then Roblox can really move off of that from that position. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. Oh, I like this, looks really good. RSI looks solid. Stochastic looks like it wants to move up. Now, Stochastic could pull one of these and just reject on the center. And then roll back down. But like the reality is like this is gonna W out if it does that, right? Just like it did right here. So like it fell down, rejected here, and then came back in a big W way, right? So if it falls down, comes back again, it's gonna be like this, and then one of those. Really, what I think is playing here on a bigger scale is a big W. And what I've seen with a lot of W's lately is they have this weird off leg before they end up breaking out. Really freaking weird. But like I've seen it a lot. where these W's come in like this, come back for some reason, retest lows, and then come back up. And it really, this is just one leg. But
It's a curse of W.
curse of W, yeah, it could be that, yeah, for sure. It's just one of those weird. I don't know why it does that, man. It's so weird. But I've seen this a lot. I've seen this a lot where it plays like that. So this is good though for a long play. Really, if it plays out as a W, man, like the sky's the limit. You got so much room inside. Like
This
know,
is the game,
right.
correct?
Yeah, this is the game. Yep. You should see the user base on this. It's pretty nuts.
Oh, my
And it
8-year-old
seems like
loves this shit.
it seems like it could reach the all-time high way quicker than some of these other
100%. Yeah. If this is a W, it's going to rip through this.
It's not even like I was joking about the other coin talking about 2000 and or whatever in 9 years or whatever, but this one like a year maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think once we see that uninversion of 2 and the 10, you got probably another year before you're gonna crash. But like I don't even think that uninversion is gonna happen until next year, right? So like we could play all the way out until 2025.
It will.
2026 until we actually see that big crash. What's up?
Do you still have faith on Apple now that it's coming up with those new goggles?
Well, it's not really about faith in Apple. Like I think Apple's a good company. I think it has solid products. It's too weighted, right? It has too much liquidity. Like the more liquidity that's in something, the more it takes to move price, right? So like if you're a trillion, which is what Apple is, $1 trillion company, you need like 10, 20 billion to even move price like a couple cents. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, is it really worth investing in? And then on top of that, their dividends are horrible. I think they're like 0.06 cents per share or something ridiculous. You gotta have a stupid amount of money in them to even get real dividends. Warren Buffett's pretty much soaking up the whole entire dividend market when it comes to Apple. I think he's making like 100, 200 million a month. Hold on, let me pull it up. How much? Buffett make on Apple dividends? I looked this up at one point. I was like, how much is this dude actually making? Why is he in it? So Apple brought in around 394.3 billion in revenue over the course of 2022, meaning that 823.5 million returned to Berkshire through dividends, which represent 0.2% of the tech giant's total revenue. So they brought in 394 billion. He literally took basically a billion in revenue for a year. And and keep in mind, he owns 0.2%, right? Like just a stupid amount that he owns, and it's only 0.2. Like for us to get to 0.2, I don't ever see that happening as retail. You got to be stupid rich. Let's see here. Revenue Apple. How much is Apple right now? $174. How many stocks exist? You have like a split or something like that on here somewhere.
Because they're giving it too much hype with the VR headsets.
You can't buy into that shit, man. Buying into Apple's like buying into Spy. To be honest with you, like I mean, I get you could look at it like, oh, it's safety. If I want safety, I'll go buy bonds. Like it's a similar return in my opinion as to what you'll get from Apple. Apple is down to like what 125, 174. Like year over year, if you look at Apple's growth, let's take a year move, right? So we'll just say like 12 months, whatever. 12 bars. You gain 100% of your money, right? You gain 1x per year. It's just I don't like 1x for a whole
Apple's
year.
for 401ks.
Yeah, like it's literally for like 401ks and stuff like that. That doesn't work. Like if I'm going to be investing myself, it's going to be in high risk, and I don't mean like super high risk. I mean like low cats, mid caps. Those are considered high risk, and I don't mean like going into high yield growth, indexes and stuff like that either, because those are obviously extremely risk, in my opinion, when it comes to risk curve. If you look at Apple though, on a bigger scale, like look at the accumulation. Look at this accumulation, basically distribution, massive accumulation, right? Or spike accumulation, and then distribution, massive distribution, and then into accumulation. See that big drop? And then you get this massive, right? Massive distribution. And then you're basically looking at accumulation. Like look at volume right here for Apple. Look at volume. Has volume ever been lower?
Apple for you to make, if you would have made money in Apple, you would have to wait 20 years, right?
Yeah. Like here's the thing, like every stock has a boom, right? Every stock has a boom. Accumulation, boom. So when does the boom stop? At the end of the day, right? Like your biggest growth is in here. And that's where you see that, right? You see that. The growth has been slowly dying in Apple. You can see it through volume. Now, this is a little bit in we'll say let me think of the word for this. It's a little bit conflicting with what I had said earlier about volume, right? But this is on a much longer term scale, right? Multi-year. It still plays the same way I explained it. It's just that volume over here is just so much lower, right? There's really not a lot of volume over here. So like you still get your spikes, right? Your spike red indicators telling you, hey, something's about to happen. And then you get these drops in interest, right? So your spike occurred here. You continue to run against price. You have a bear div playing right here on Apple. And you've yet to fall over, right? The reality is here, and we talked about this, even though this should be coming this direction, if you play the sideways game long enough, you can reset the RSI, you can reset the stochastic, and you can make upside room. But what does that mean for your profits? It means that unless you're playing dividends, the dividends game, you're going to make nothing in here. And you're going to sit in this for multi-year move of just sideways accumulation to try and reset price so you can continue up. Does that make sense?
Crystal.
That's why, like I said, I have no interest in this, because it's like it's just one of those things that has to like play out somewhere. There's no interest in me in volume. I mean, to me in volume, right? The biggest volume play in Apple played out way over here. Apple has been a dead stock since here. Even though it's ran, right? Its biggest growth boom was in this area right here.
Literally when the iPhone came out.
Yep. And then after that, it hasn't done shit. Like it grows, but I think it grows off of like portfolio managers. And it gives dividends that aren't worth anything in reality. And to me, it's playing under a bear div that I think, has good potential to play. And we're kind of at a high position, right? You got a bear div into a high position. Stochastic looks like it still going to come up, but even stochastic's playing lower highs on the stochastic, right? Like everything's playing lower highs on the stochastic, the RSI, the volume looks bad. Like if you're to look at this from a volume perspective, We got our big spike here. We got our dead zone, which is basically our accumulation sideways. And then we got another spike, right? And now we're moving back into a dead zone, right? Like, yeah, we could spike up again, but it looks very top to me. It's very toppy. Not liking it. So it's one of those plays. Ugh. And if you look here too, so exactly what I said with the same move with volume. Look, high volume, right? Push. And then right here is your Pico top pull back. And then up here is just like a bit of a deviation, right? It's an ABC move because your volume really doesn't move off of this. So you can wait for the next spike, which basically occurred right here. Anybody notice where the volume started? Where did it start? Started at Pico bottom. Oh. And now you're starting to die back down in volume. So if price, so basically look at it like this. If volume gets back into these ranges, below these ranges, right? It starts playing the low end of these ranges or under this range, which is kind of where it's heading. If it can get back under this range, regardless of where price is, that's your next bottom. More than likely it will come up again and it'll start ramping off of this move. So the way I'd take this is I'd take this like this. And I would say your next volume spike could push you up to here. And that's where you're going to start stair stepping back out of this move. So we'll say it's to here, kind of plays here, whatever. And then 2 into 3, and then 4 into the 5, right?
That's interesting because people and myself also are always looking at price and like support to get in, but like I never look at volume to to decide when to get in. I never thought about it.
Yeah, it's just a way to tell when they're trying to catch the falling knife. Volume will start to spike against price because like when nobody was interested, look, what was Tesla doing up here? It was getting wrecked, right? Did volume spike? No.
It was just steady.
It was just steady. Why? Because no one gave a shit. They were like, it's too overpriced. So nobody's interested in trying to catch the falling knife. And then you get this move up, this double top move right here. And this is 308. I told you guys to get out right up here. 308, boom, waterfall, right? Ramps up volume, ramps because they're like, oh shit. And then they come in and they try and catch it. Excuse my language, but like that's what they were thinking when this thing started dropping. And they come in, they're trying to slow it by buying into the drop, right? They're trying to buy, trying to slow the drop down. They catch it and then they hold it and then they flip it, right? And that's that volume spike right here. And now we're starting to fall back on volume. And the reality is we could ramp back up right where we're at. And if we do that, this is the bottom for Tesla right here as of current bottom, right? And this turns into a 1, 2, 3. And you notice the 3 is what? It's massive, right? 3 is massive. 4, 5, right? And then 5 tests all-time high. The question is, where do we go from there? Do we break out? Do we come back down to ABC? I would expect the breakdown move, at least a minimum retest of like R4, which is $200. So if you were looking to get into Tesla, technically, it would be a buy here. And you are playing the mid zone, which is a really good zone to play. If you're on top, it's a buy. If you're below, it's short. If you're looking to come down, you can catch it down here somewhere. So right now we're on top. Makes sense. And your bottom, the stochastic, you're looking to break just above the 50. If you can get above the 50, catch it as support, you're gonna take off. This is gonna be your 3 move. It's gonna be massive. So you're basically gonna move. You missed a chunk of the move, but like you still have from 190 all the way up to like 300, 310, right? And after you've recaptured your entire puke move, like your likeliness is you're going to retest the low and you're going to break through this, and the market's not going to want to come back down to this zone again. Now, Granted, this can also, on a bigger scale, play out in a very bad way, which is 1 to 2 to a 3, right? To a 4, and then, into a 5 or whatever, right? Down. So this could play out really badly, or it could play out, into a breakout move. Or actually, I wouldn't even call it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From there, I go A into a B, right? And your B would basically be a lower move into a C. And your C would come back above your 0. And then you would start moving off of that back up to the upside. So lots going on there. Something to keep an eye on, but if you're bullish, go long here. Buy you some spot. I wouldn't really take some calls. I'd just go with some spot. But again, I'm not big on Tesla right now, but that would be a really good move. A lot of people would freak out, see 188 to 300. It's a 1/3 price move, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much markets for me. Again, BTC back above 27K. That's really good. Where I wanted to see it. Ideally, we get that breakout move we're talking about, and then BTC ramps up 36, 37. Shit coins and altcoins run probably right behind it. Everybody says new bull run. We're going to 50K. This will be our rejection zone, and then they get fucking wrecked for longing at the high. So that's the expectation here for the move. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
All
Thanks,
right.
Will.
Yeah. I'll post
Thanks,
the video here in a bit.
You the man, Will.
No problem. No problem, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll meet again this coming weekend like normal. So I'm not going anywhere. Even if I become famous, I'll still be here to help you guys. Don't worry.
I wanted to hear some Miami stories, but I don't know. I missed like 5 minutes in the beginning, so I don't know if I missed anything. Not tonight. I know it's late.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely maybe we'll chop it up this coming Saturday or something like that. So that'd probably be a better time. But yeah, there's a lot happened. I'll put it that way. My voice is almost gone. So yeah. All right,
Good
guys.
night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll see you guys.
Buenas noches.
Good night. Take care, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks again, Will.
No problem. See you guys.